We would Rohit Rawat. We both is the function. So yeah, so we came for I'm the heading the committee for.
Good evening. On behalf of ICI Luxembourg chapter, we would like to welcome you all to the first event of Luxembourg chapter of ICI. Our chapter was formed in year 2020. And for this event, we have eminent speakers who have traveled from all parts of the world. We would like to start the event with our ICI motto song.
एष सुप्तेषु जागृति एष सुप्तेषु जागृति कामं 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 कामपुरुषो पुरुषो निर्मिमाणः निर्मिमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तदेव शुक्रब्रह्मा तद्ब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शतः सर्वे तदूनात्यपि कश्चन एतद्वैता 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 एतद्वैता.
Thank you. Now I would like to welcome CA Anjani Radia, Chairman of ICI Luxembourg chapter, for his introductory words. Mr. Radia has worked with the big four accounting firms in London, New York, and India. He has been in Luxembourg for more than 10 years now, and he has in-depth knowledge in investment management and private equity real estate industry. I would like to welcome him.
Good evening. Good evening to all distinguished guests, friends of India, those of you who are present with us here in Luxembourg, and also those joining us from across the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Luxembourg. To our Luxembourg chapter of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, to its first physical event after the launch of our chapter, which happened during the pandemic in July 2020. I welcome Shri Debashish Prustiji, our Deputy Chief of Mission, Indian Embassy, Brussels, who is our guest of honor for this event. Thank you, Debashish. I welcome all the delegates who have come specifically, traveled from India for this event. Venture Catalyst team, TLGS team, Indian Achievers Forums team, and special welcome to Telangana State Government of India, who accepted our request to be our chief guest for this program. But due to some unavoidable circumstances, Telangana delegation could not be present with us today here physically, but they will join us virtually and will be present with us throughout the program. So please enjoy there. I welcome all the speakers who have taken out their valuable time and have accepted our request to deliberate their views on our main theme of the event, which is Luxembourg, India, Connect, exploring business and startup opportunities, inbound and outbound. Our Luxembourg chapter started its journey 2 years ago with our support of our mother organization, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, New Delhi, of which the seed of this chapter was planted by no other than the Netherlands chapter of ICAI chairman, CA Vikas Chaturvedi ji, who is present with us here today, because we would not have been here without you. Our chapter and this event would not have been possible without the support of our Central Council member of CA Institute, CA Dheeraj Khandelwal ji, and his entire team of ICAI New Delhi. Dheeraj ji is with us today and then has honored to be part of the delegation with us. Last but not the least, a very special mention to our chapter committee members. Sorry. Let me check. Again, the chapter committee members, now they are. Arun Somani, our vice chairman. Rashmi Kathuria, our treasurer. Jyoti Gupta, our secretary. Saksham Rodgi, Purnima Anand, and Ganesh Rajmohan. We, as a strong team together, has worked tirelessly to make this event a memorable experience for you all. So sit back and enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you, Anjani ji. We now have CA Rohit Rovatia, Vice Chairman, Committee for Development of International Trade Services and WTO, to explain us about the event. Mr. Rohit is youngest Central Council member of the 25th Council of ICAI. So,
thank you, Saksham. Very good evening to all the dignitaries and participants present over here. Special thank to the chairman of the Luxembourg chapter, Anjani Ladia ji. My chairman of the committee, Dheeraj Khandelwal ji, who is the man behind all the efforts which he actually do. And to all the committee members especially. So first of all, before we start the session and understand what we are actually going to do, we should have a great round of applause for all the team members of Luxembourg chapter who has done great efforts in making this successful, this wonderful event in front of you. And even it is the first event which we are actually witnessing. And let me tell you, friends, I'm from India. And coming out of India and watching and witnessing such an event is really remarkable. And the kind of efforts which you people have put in, because it's not about 100 people. The efforts which you have put in, if we put in India, then we might have got 2,000 people. So it's not about the numbers, but actually you have connected the members who are actually staying in Luxembourg to have the feeling of togetherness and to have the feeling of understanding. And I must congratulate the Luxembourg chapter that yes, you did a tremendous work, and especially Vikas ji, whom I am hearing a lot many times that he is doing a lot of efforts, because inviting a chapter, making a chapter is really very, very tough task. We understand the kind of efforts you people have made to build this chapter. I just tell you one thing, boss, love it like your family, because हम लोग भारत से निकल के यहाँ आए हैं और मैं अपनी भाषा को नहीं रोक पा रहा, अंग्रेजी में मैं बोलना चाहता हूं, परंतु मेरे लिए एक मुश्किल दौर है कि मैं मेरे देश के लोगों के बीच में बैठा हूं और मैं अपने आप को रोक नहीं पा रहा हूं कि मैं हिंदी में बात करूं। तो प्रोबेबली जिनको नहीं समझ में आ रहा वो प्लीज समझिएगा, बट बात ये है कि हम हमारे देश के बाहर आके इतने प्रयास के साथ यदि ये चैप्टर बनाते हैं तो उसमें बहुत सारे एफर्ट्स लगते हैं। सो लेट मी कम टू द पॉइंट. We have kind presence of our embassy So this event is more graceful by his kind presence, because actually the presence of embassy in this program gives us more result and output. So we are actually, the theme of the program is Luxembourg India Connect, exploring opportunities in business and startup. So we have a lot of speakers today to understand all the efforts. We will be discussing on technology, science, defense, and a lot many sessions, because there are many opportunities in Luxembourg which can be taken by Indian people in India, an opportunity in India which can be taken by the people of the Luxembourg. So you may feel that why we are here, why such kind of event is required, but actually I tell you, the result of this event may come today, may come tomorrow, may come after 6 months, or may come after 1 year. But I assure you that 100% the result and outcome of this event is going to come for sure. And every member participating this event will really praise that such kind of event should definitely occur, definitely organize regular basis. So with this, I just mark my words. And congratulations and best wishes to once again to whole team. एंड रिक्वेस्ट कि आप सब लोग भारत के हर त्योहार जो है वो इसी तरीके से मनाएं, इसी तरीके से. आई जस्ट हर्ड दैट यू सेलिब्रेट इंडिया डे. इट्स अ ग्रेट प्राइड मोमेंट, एंड आई हैव read on the WhatsApp that tomorrow is 2nd October, the Gandhi Jayanti. So you are celebrating, actually you are paying tribute to Honorable Mahatma Gandhi in Luxembourg. It will be again great proud moment for all of us. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Jai ICI.
Thank you so much, Rohit. Now we have CA Dheeraj Khandelwal, Chairman, Committee for Development of International Trade Services, WTO, talking about the growth perspective in India and opportunities for startup. He's also the Vice Chairman of the Committee for Members in Public Service and Entrepreneurship, with 20 years of experience as a member of ICI Council. So please.
I think first of all, I really want to thanks to the Anjani Ladia, the chapter chairman, for having a wonderful event of Luxembourg. I can say it's the very first event for this Luxembourg chapter, and I'm also be the first time in the Luxembourg. I'm witnessing a wonderful event. So let's heads up to the Anjani and entire team of the Luxembourg for having particular this event. Respected my colleague in the council, Rohit, of course, the guest of honor, Devasis Pustiji, and one of my good friend, Vikas, and of course, Vijay Krishna Goyalji, and all chapter chairman, as well as the vice chairman, secretary, and treasurer, all over the people over here. I think this is a great pride and privilege for me to be attending. This is a great evening of this Luxembourg. First of all, I just want to brief about the ICI. A lot of people are not being associated with the ICI, and people are seeing that what the ICI chapter is about, what the ICI does it. So just wanted to brief that each and every ICI is an Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, being under Act of the Parliament, comes under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and is an autonomous body having a 40 council member, 32 is an elected representative, and 8 is government nominee. And being we are the educator, we are also regulator, and now we are also executor for the policy of the government. So 3 domain which we, prospectively, performing: educator, regulator, and as well as the executor. As a educator, we always, you might be aware of that, we conduct the examination, we have the course curriculum, all the studies being done by the ICI, and after becoming a chartered accountant, we also provide a regularly update CPRs, CPD programs, updates on the various knowledges. And third is regulating the profession, coming out various standards, and punishing the members as well as if the members are hurt. And fourth, largely is supporting the various activities of the government and rules and regulations. Here, wanted to brief that I'm in charge of the committee called Development of Trade, Services, and WTO. In this particular committee, we promote the Indian government services to the across the world, particularly largely the professional services which can be rendered by Indian to the outside the India through maybe a placement of the services, placement of the people. And for that, we are coming up a portal for service portal. Like work is there, the same thing the ICI going to have our own work, where the Indian Chartered Accountant sitting at India will be providing outsourced services which are being generated across the world. And second, we are providing a manpower services. As just now we were talking to the people from the Mr. Arun. He said, we wanted a lot of people in the finance other posts. I said, we have our own portal, cajob.ici.org. In that portal, you can definitely get as many as experienced chartered accountant wherever you want. It's completely free. So these are the two services which we are already rendering it. And I'm also having in charge of the committee called MSME in a startup. Being a lot of activities being done in India, MSME Yatra, propagating the ICI or government, MSMEs, publication subsidies and initiatives, and same way of the startups. A startup is nothing is new things. We are seeing this startup things as an entrepreneurial journey from last so many years. A lot of people are doing all the entrepreneurial journey. Now the new terminology called the startup by way of new technology. And we have seen the technology being worked from last 2-3 years. And we have already witnessed in the COVID times. By sitting in India or anything, wherever the people were there and providing all services and things were really worked on it. And in India, I can say it's about a lot of things being worked out in the startup ecosystem, digitalization, and we have the e-GEM portal, government portal, a lot of things, initiatives being done. And we have our next speaker going to be in the startup session, where the Poonam Khandewal from the Venture Catalyst, she came from the Mumbai, India, Nagpur, just to display what the startup ecosystems are in India, how the things have been really changed. We moved from a 40,000 startup, which used to be done I think in 2018. Now more than 80,000 startups are there. We now enter into the 100 unicorn clubs. More than 100 unicorn clubs. And she was also she's in charge of the Venture Catalyst. So she definitely brief you about, how the folds being changed by investing in the particular startup. Across the world, people are talking about the startup and India. The entire India startup ecosystem. India is changing. Previously, we've seen that India's ease of doing business was nothing. Now, coming with the single window system, we moved from 140th rank in 2014 to the 40th rank in the ease of doing business. Not only this, in the global innovations, we have also benchmarked at 40th rank in the global innovations. In IT, you've seen, across the places or across the area, whether you talk about the UPI system, ONDC, one of the examples. I was in the Geneva, heading the open forum for in the WTO. The world is talking about the e-commerce, everything, coming the digitization of trade. I was wondering, how, these people are talking about, and they're talking about the, developing nations, likely, Africa, another country. When I raised my questions, talking, going to be like that, you'll be making a plan, a future plan, but India already done it. India already been part of it, and India's, much higher. They apply, they surprise, when I, encountered with the many of, things to the open forum in the Geneva. They said, really? Is really the India is so progress well? I said, yes, in each and every area. And due to the, I know it's the global uncertainty over here. In the global uncertainty, I can say it's the place, the India is the only the place where the global has to look upon it to be investing destination. And global, what the reasoning behind it? Of course, cost competitiveness, demand market, of course, the policies, which is previously is what not there, now it's policy is changing. And a lot of other things are there in the particularly for the high growth. And India is ranking now the 5th largest economy of the world by the GDP in nominal, and by 3rd by the power consumptions, power purchasing. India is not only in the investing part, of course, in the global race of having the SEZs. Now the world is talking about, we previously talked about the Cayman Island, people talked about only the Singapore, Dubai, SEZ, various. Now the India is also having their own gift city. One of the fabulous part of it now, all the entire world is looking forward in the gift city. The investment destinations, in the banking. As you're part of the city of the Luxembourg country, in the Luxembourg, you have seen that your country being enriched with the EU Investment Bank, EU investment funds, and a lot of startups, a lot of other things being rated the AAA rated your country, this Luxembourg country. How we can do it? The ICI Luxembourg, as well as you people, along with the authorities over here, can come together and make it inbound and outbound investment to from the India as well as from Luxembourg. We have also treaty India and Luxembourg launchpad startup in 2018, 19, I think 20, I think that will launch, which is the way for the collaboration with the various services. So in that, what we can do it, we can ICI jointly have a startup ecosystem by way of participating in the startup.ici.org. In ICI itself, you might be wondered why the ICI, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, is just not only a professional body. As I said, is executor with the government policies. When the government is coming out with the 180 incubation center, when the government is itself have the Startup India, Investment India, why not the other body like IIMs, IIT, like ICI or other bodies should come forward and boost the entire ecosystem. And that is the reason the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India also came out an innovative idea to have the incubation centers. In 2018, we started incubation center. Now we have 11 incubation centers because we have 166 branches across the India and 44 chapters across the world. We are 400,000 members Out of that, maybe around 30 to 40,000 members are settled abroad, like Vikas and you people. It's such an ecosystem. We not wanted to restrict our ecosystem into the India. We wanted to collaborate across the world. And when I'm talking about the incubation centers, how the collaboration can be there, globalization can be there by the way of the IT technology. That's why we built on it on the platform www.castartup.ici.org, where you will find the investors. You can be one of the you can be an investor, angel investors, or you can be a service provider. You can also provide the services of the valuation services or various other services, or you can be part of the acting as a startup. You can look for the funding. So these are the another part, and another area which is ICI is your chapter, being part of it as a trade, acting as a trade part of like SOCM and SOCM and CI and other things. So you can also be invite members from here to invest in India. So this is basically broad framework to have this kind of meetings in the chapters. And I hope that this is a welcome beginning by the entire team of the Luxembourg, with the Engineer Ladia and Anul and other people has started this particular program. And I hope that it's going to be continued and a lot of good results going to be encountered. With this, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was really insightful. For the next session, Jayesh Ranjan was not able to join us due to some urgent commitment. So we have Dr. Vishnu Vardhan Reddy, who is an IFS Special Secretary, Investment Promotion and External Engagement with Telangana government, to discuss investment opportunities in India. Dr. Vishnu joined the Indian Foreign Services in 2008. He has served at the Indian missions in Madrid, Geneva, and has experience in both covering bilateral and multilateral relations.
Yeah. Thank you. Am I audible to everyone? Thanks for the warm introduction.
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah. So Chairman Ladia, Chairman Dheerajji, and Mr. Rohit, distinguished members of ICAI, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to all of you and warm greetings from Hyderabad. Today I'm representing government of Telangana. I'm pitching for Jayesh Ranjan sir, who had to go accompany our minister to Delhi for an urgent meeting. So at the outset, I wish to appreciate and congratulate ICAI for organizing this event, and more importantly, for providing an opportunity to talk about Telangana and also to showcase Telangana to the august audience that has gathered here. I'm also particularly happy that today's event is being hosted by the Luxembourg chapter in Luxembourg. Before joining Telangana government as Special Secretary, I was Director for Western Europe, and I was a close witness to how bilateral relations between India and Luxembourg strengthened in the recent years, especially after the virtual summit, very successful virtual summit of November 2020, co-chaired by Prime Minister Modi and the Prime Minister of Luxembourg. Friends, we are in the midst of unprecedented geopolitical and geoeconomic changes. All of you are aware of that. But among all these uncertainties and challenges, I think one thing is very clear. It is India's turn to lead the next wave of globalization. It is India's turn to be the next epicenter for economic growth, and as one of the themes for today's event, to be the powerhouse of the next powerhouse of innovation. Whether it is sustainable development, socioeconomic progress, climate change, or environmental protection, today the world sees India as not just a part of the problem, but world sees and acknowledges that India is very much part of the solution. and not. It is my strong belief that in the next decade or so, the innovations that are going to address the critical challenges that we as humanity are facing would come from India. But today, my focus would be on pitching for Telangana government and providing you a quick snapshot of what's happening in Telangana and why we think that it's the best place to do business in India. So I would like to share a quick presentation. Just give me a second whether I could. Yeah. Can I ask I'm facing some technical difficulty. Can I ask the organizers to upload the presentation? It's a very small one. I will not take much time. Is that possible from your end?
Yeah, we'll just check.
Yeah. So if we can quickly go to the seconds, yeah. So basically, the deck of slides, I will quickly give a snapshot of Telangana and take you through the possible opportunities for collaboration. With Luxembourg, but otherwise also the role that members of ICA could do in promoting investment and business opportunities between Telangana and the world. So next slide, please. So. Yeah. So Telangana, for those who are not fully aware of it, it's a young state formed in 2014. The outcome of a struggle for regional identity and control over regional resources. We are the size of Portugal at best, with a population of Poland at 40 million. We are the 11th largest in terms of population in the country. We are very much centrally located. What I wanted to highlight in this slide is that we see ourselves as we are a young state, and we see ourselves literally as a startup state. And to also borrow the parlance of innovation and startups, we also treat ourselves as a unicorn state. And why I say this, because I think if someone looks at the independent India's history, the kind of progress that Telangana has achieved in the last short span of 7 to 8 years in various sectors, whether it's agriculture, industry, socio-economic progress, I think it's unprecedented. And just to demonstrate this literally in figures, if you can look at the slide, see the same slide, please. Yeah, if you look at the slide, see in a short span of 8 years, our gross, we are the fastest growing state, and our gross state domestic product has increased almost by from 5.6 lakh crores in 2014-15 when Telangana was formed to 11.54 lakh crores in 21-22. In terms of per capita income, in 2014 we were just 1.24 lakh as an average income in Telangana, but today we stand at 2.79 lakhs rupees as per capita income, and this is pretty much very high from the national average, almost 2 times the national average, and represents a 130% unprecedented 130% increase in per capita income over the last 7 to 8 years. In terms of irrigated land, agriculture has been a very backbone of our economy. And if you look at the success of the irrigation projects and agriculture schemes that we have launched in the last 7 years, the acreage has increased from 62 lakh acres to a whooping 1 crore 36 lakh acres. It's almost like in the last 7 years, we have brought the size of a land that is the size of Belgium fully irrigated. That's only. That's unimaginable. In such a short span of time, that's the kind of achievement that we were able to achieve. In the IT sector, we are already a powerhouse. Hyderabad is an IT hub, a major IT hub of India. And if you look at the exports, year-on-year exports has shown consistently very rapid growth. So from 2014, 66,000 crores to now, 1,83,000 crores is what we have achieved in terms of IT exports. And there are many other figures that I can provide you to show that we have indeed transformed in many sectors. If I have to highlight why we were able to achieve this, and of course under the visionary leadership of our Chief Minister and our Minister for IT and Industries, as they like to put it, may I request to go to the next slide. As our Chief Minister and IT Minister always put it, the development mantra of Telangana is very simple. We call it as a 3I mantra, and we have been able to achieve because of our consistent focus on innovation, infrastructure, and inclusiveness. Let me first talk about infrastructure. Why we emphasize this? When Telangana was formed, the doomsayers said that the state is going to be a spectacular failure, probably similar to other states that were bifurcated in the recent past in India. We said that there won't be any. Telangana would fail to provide power to industries. Telangana would be water starved, and etc. But in a very short span of time, we have achieved tremendous success in these critical areas, which are important not just for agriculture but industries and also services. And today I'm happy to share that Telangana is the only state in the country which can provide 24/7 uninterrupted power supply, not just to the industry sector but also to the agriculture sector. And we are only few states which actually can even dare to claim that we are water secure. Telangana is home to the world's largest lift irrigation project called as the Kaleshwaram lift irrigation project, which has been completed in a record time. I think it was acknowledged and recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records also in terms of mega infrastructure project development. In a short span of 4 to 5 years, we could not just only conceptualize but also implement and execute this mega project. And the results are very obvious. If you look at the agriculture sector, apart from the annual growth rate, what this 100% power supply and water security has resulted is that it has ushered in what we call as the 5 revolutions. So when Telangana was formed, in terms of rice production, we were not even in the top 10 in the country. But today, we are the second highest rice producer in the country, just next to Punjab, the Punjab belt. Say water security and our tanks and lakes are always beaming with water even in peak summer. And this has catapulted us to the leading producer in terms of inland fisheries, and thus ushering in Blue Revolution. White Revolution, we have doubled in the cattle that we have in Telangana state, and we are a leading producer of milk and milk products. When Telangana was formed, we were importing. We are a meat-loving state. We enjoy all types of food, and we were importing. All of you must be knowing about Hyderabad biryani, the best biryani in the world. So we were actually importing a lot of meat from neighboring states. But because of some visionary and forward-looking thought from our Chief Minister, because of some excellent welfare programs where we started distributing sheep to low-income people. Today we are seeing what is a pink revolution, and where Telangana has now become a net exporter for meat. We are also looking at an yellow revolution by expanding the cultivation of oil palm in the country, and we are soon to become the largest oil producer, not just in the country but also in the subcontinent. Industries, again, we have natural strengths in life sciences. We are a leading aerospace and defense hub, and we are emerging electronic hub, and we also have a strong footprint in food processing and textile industries. Services, as I was already mentioning, we are an IT powerhouse. We are also focusing a lot on emerging technology, which I will brief in the subsequent slides, and we are a leading innovation and startup hub in the country. Next slide, please. So just to brief you, I'll again throw some facts at all of you to show how strong we are in some of the priority sectors when it comes to IT and industries. Today, if you look at in IT sector, if you look at the top 5 companies in terms of their net worth globally, like Apple, Amazon, Google, or the Alphabet now, the Microsoft and the Metas. You would be very happy to know that. So all these 5 companies, or the 5 big, as we call the 5 big companies in the world in IT space, their largest global campuses outside USA are located in Hyderabad. In fact, if you look at Amazon, the largest campus in the world, including if you even include in the US, the largest campus is in Hyderabad. That's how strong we are in the IT sector, and we have around 1,500 plus multinational companies who have made Hyderabad their home. And in terms of year-on-year growth, I think this year we even beat Bengaluru and other IT hubs in India in terms of the highest number of IT jobs that we have added in the last financial year. Again, in life sciences, I'll again throw some snippets at you to demonstrate how strong we are in the pharma sector. Today we produce 1/3 of all of the entire human vaccines that the world produces. So if you have taken a vaccine, of course, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, our name to fame as the life sciences capital of India has only strengthened. As you know, the Made in India vaccine, the Bharat Biotech vaccine, again is from Hyderabad. And Biological E, which is again developing which is the main company behind the vaccine partnership of the Indo-Pacific Initiative, is also headquartered in Hyderabad. In aerospace and defense, we have already established as a leading contender. And again, some interesting facts, if I can share here. We are ranked the #1 in terms of FDA in aerospace cities of the future ranking. And today we are proud to claim that if you look at the flights that are flying in India, every flight has at least one component that comes from Hyderabad. And not just in the aeronautical sector, but also if you look at the space sector, 30% of the components that went into India's highly successful Mars orbital mission or Mangalyaan actually came from Hyderabad. We have around 8 aerospace parks and around 1,000 plus MSMEs that are working in the aerospace and defense sector. And very recently, just a month ago, Safran has decided to open its one and only large MRO facility for maintenance and overhaul of aerospace engines in Hyderabad. Electronics, again, we are an emerging hub. We have some way to go, but we are already producing. Our electronics production has already reached 3 billion, clocking an average growth rate of 8.3%. Here again, an interesting snippet for all of you. 25% of televisions manufactured in India come from the Telangana state. So that's how we are strong in IT and industry sector. Now I will quickly take you through why we've been successful in terms of becoming an investment magnet in the state, and were able to attract close to 35 billion investments in the last 7 years in various sectors. May I request to go to the next slides, please? Yeah. So if someone asks why Telangana, then I think our answer would be very simple. Next slide, please. Yeah, our answer would be simple. We are the most business-friendly state in the country, and we have consistently ranked top 3 in ease of doing business for the last several years. What has allowed us to become such a business-friendly state is very simple. We were the first state to launch a very transformative and very radical industrial policy called as the TS-IPAS, also stands for the Industrial Project Approval and Self-Certification System. Today, we are the only state in the country which allows an enterprise or a company to start their operations from day 1 without the need for waiting for any approval, any kind of approval from the state government. This self-certification certification scheme is very unique to our state, and it's not that necessary environmental and other clearance are required. They are required, but that doesn't stop you from starting your operations. The moment you formally launch your operations, by the time if you have we have a single window system through the TS IPAS portal, and once you apply, by legislation, we guarantee that your clearances will be issued within 15 days. And we are the only state to also confirm to all the industry players that if you don't get your clearance on the 16th day, by legislation, we have what is called as deemed approval. So you need not run around this government again. So within 50 days, you will get clearance. That is our assurance. And if you don't get on the 16th day for any reason, it's deemed approval. You can happily continue your operations there. Similarly, in terms of the incentives, by legislation, we have a very unique policy called the meet or beat incentives. See, at the end of the day, we practice what is competitive federalism in India, and every state try to compete and outrun the other state in terms of attracting investments, especially in the critical sectors of pharma, electronics, automotives, etc. So we know that it's a competitive environment. And our answer to such a competition is very simple. If a company says that a particular state X is willing to offer something to them to set up a manufacturing unit, we have by policy we can either meet it or beat it. So you tell us what package, whatever you can share with us, we will simply try to match it or beat it. That's the kind of incentives that we offer to the industry. Of course, we also have a very forward-looking and progressive sectoral policies. This is something of relevance to the event that is happening today. In fact, we don't wait for the national policies to shape up. We know in a country like India, national policies would take some time, particularly in emerging technologies like blockchain or cryptocurrency or AI or drones. So we don't necessarily wait for the national policies to shape up. We come up with our own initiatives. In fact, we are the first states, among the first states in India to come up with a drones framework. First state to come up with an artificial intelligence policy. First state to come up with a center of excellence on cybersecurity. First state to come up with a unique policy on blockchain. So we are very forward-looking in that sense. And of course, in terms of infrastructure, we have some of the best. Again, on a comparative note, we promise very good infrastructure, whether it comes to water, power, or highways, or connectivity, or in terms of logistics. Next few slides, please. Yeah. So we are not just in terms of industrial policy and attracting investments. Another core strength of Telangana and Hyderabad is in the innovation space. We are the #1 in terms of startup ranking and innovation index. And how we were able to achieve this is because of the very transformative initiatives that we have taken in the government. We have come up with some world-class institutions like the T-Hub, which was phase 2 of which was recently launched in the month of June. Now we built it as the world's largest innovation campus. It can host up to 4,000 startups in the same building. It's a state of the art. I think you should come and see to witness and how impressive it is. We also have what is called as Telangana State Innovation Cell to promote and nurture the culture of innovation right from the beginning, from the high school age and from the college days. We also have what is called as a unique enterprise called VHub, which supports women entrepreneurs and focuses on education, validation, and support for women enterprises. T-Works, again, is India's one and only largest prototyping center. What is T-Hub for software and innovation? T-Works is for hardware and prototyping. We also have the RICH, which takes care of, looks at research, bringing research to market and then to manufacturing, and also encourages companies to look at IP protection. We also, as I was just mentioning, we also have we have dedicated emerging technologies wing. And the unique selling point for this sector is that we are the only state which promises a first use case. So if a company which is focusing on, say, a blockchain technology comes up with a solution, as a government, we promise that if that solution is can solve some of the problems that the state is facing, we will be the first purchaser of the technology. So that's the kind of support we provide to people who are investing in emerging and new technologies. Next slide, please. So what this has done is now we have close to more than 6,600 startups that have made Telangana their home, and their total ecosystem value has already reached 750 million, and we are rapidly become an attractive place for also for venture capitals. Some of these startups that have been incubated in Telangana and in Tihar have already become unicorns in their own right. Next slide, please. And finally, see, I was mentioning in the other side how we were able to, how the big five, the Apples, the Amazons, the Googles, and the Metas have made Hyderabad their second largest campus in the world. This has not come because we were giving any because we are giving any tax subsidies or we are a tax haven. They choose Hyderabad primarily because we are a powerhouse of talent. The kind of skills that we are able to provide is definitely something that no other state, not just in India, but also comparatively placed other countries can provide. And why we are able to do this, apart from the leading institutions that are in and around Hyderabad, is because of a unique initiative by the government, state government, called the Telangana Academy for Skills and Knowledge. What this enterprise does is that if a company says, I'm setting up a factory or an IT center in Hyderabad, and it says that I need 100 set of trained people. What we do is we take up the responsibility of training those people. And it's not like that we train 100 people and say that take this 100 people. No. If you say, a company says my requirement is 100 people who have special knowledge in a particular software or in a particular program or in a particular technology, we will train that. Our Telangana Academy of Skills and Knowledge at the cost of the government will train 1,000 people, and the company can choose, conduct interviews and select 100 as per their requirement. That's the kind of facilitation and that's the kind of talent that we are willing to support the industry players. And finally, one more important reason why, important reason for doing business in Hyderabad and how we pitch is, next slide, please. Yeah, Hyderabad is definitely the safest and most happening city in the country. We are right in the center of the country. We are very accessible in terms of air or road or rail connectivity. In fact, as our minister states, we are a melting point of the north and south. You get the best of both north and south, whether it is living conditions or cuisine or culture or you name it. Hyderabad provides you that. And it's not the state government that is saying this. The international association led by Mercer, which rates quality of living in the country, has consistently listed Hyderabad as the most happening and most livable city in India for the last 5 years. Of course, 2021, because of COVID, they didn't do this. But starting from 15 to 19, we were always on the top in terms of livability in India. Of course, we hardly have any disasters. We are not prone to any earthquakes or floods or etc. So it's very safe to do even businesses that are into critical technologies. I will conclude by saying that Telangana is one of the most forward-looking state, and we are open for business. We are willing to partner and engage with all our friends and well-wishers. And in terms of what we can offer to Luxembourg, or our friends in Luxembourg, or the business community in Luxembourg, or in the wider European region, and what we like to seek in terms of support from ICA is in the couple of areas like collaborations. We are willing to collaborate, and we already have some good examples, success stories in terms of engaging with in the academic and knowledge sphere. Like we have an MOU with Aero Campus Aquitaine for aerospace skilling. We have recently entered an MOU with King's College London for the upcoming pharmacy in Hyderabad. We are collaborating with Australia for the National Center for Additive Manufacturing or 3D printing. We have regular engagements with UK-India Business Council, European Business Group, Indo-French Chamber of Commerce, Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, and now, of course, ICA has been an excellent friend for Telangana. And once again, thanks for choosing Telangana for your event in Luxembourg. I just wanted to seek the support of the audience here on two flagship events that we are doing next year. Particularly in the pharma sector, BioAsia and mobility. The previous slide, please. Just 2 minutes. I'll finish it off. The previous slide, please. Yeah. So here, I'll just pitch for two events that we are doing in the month of February next year. BioAsia is Asia's largest life sciences gathering that happens every year in Hyderabad. And next year we will be celebrating the 20th anniversary edition. Coinciding with G20, and we are pitching it to be one of the events under India's G20 presidency as well. So, and also next year in February, Hyderabad would be India's first city to host a Formula E race, and to commemorate it and to celebrate it, we are organizing a week-long list of activities from EV Summit to EV Expo to EV Bike Rally and other to give impetus to the green mobility ecosystem in not just in Hyderabad but in India. So these are the two events which we require your support and participation through your friends and through your networks. And we hope to see your support in these events and participation. Finally, I'll end with a couple of things that friends who are joining from Luxembourg. As I've just mentioned, we are very strong in innovation, so we are very keen. We have done something with Israel, with California, with Central Asian countries, with Singapore. Luxembourg has a strong innovation ecosystem, particularly in the space tech and fintech. We have a state-level space policy, a space framework, and in fintech also we have a lot of startups that are working in Hyderabad. So we would be happy to collaborate with Lux Innovation, either set up a startup bridge or a startup corridor, and do some exchange in terms of exploring each other's markets. We know that a Luxembourg company called B Medical is also strong in terms of cold chain. What we are doing in Hyderabad is in partnership with the University of Birmingham. We are setting up a center of excellence on sustainable cold chain. So if some companies from Luxembourg are interested, they could also support us. And smart cities, green energy are equal priorities. So I will conclude by saying that we are open for business. We are keen to foster relationship, and we seek the support of ICAI as well as Luxembourg. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And once again, I thank Mr. Dheeraj and Mr. Ladia for choosing Telangana and for providing this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We welcome our guest of honor, Shri Debashish Prusti, Deputy Chief of Mission, Indian Embassy in Luxembourg. He is a 2000 batch IAS officer of Rajasthan cadre. He will discuss with us fact file about India and opportunities India has to offer.
My good friend, Mr. Anjani Ladia, Chairman, Luxembourg Chapter of ICAI, Mr. Dheeraj Khandelwal, Chairman of the Committee for Development of International Trade, Services and WTO, Mr. Rohit, Vice Chairman, my colleague who just joined from Government of Telangana, Dr. Vishnu, with whom I had the pleasure of working in the Ministry of External Affairs a couple of months ago. Distinguished guests, of this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening. Namaste. At the outset, let me thank the Luxembourg chapter of ICI for inviting Embassy of India to be part and partner of this very important event, very topical event. I'm very happy personally to address in today's event on this important theme, fact file about India and opportunities India has to offer. I'll try to give a holistic perspective because previous speakers have already dealt at a very granular details, but what at a policy level we are doing as a government, probably that will be of some interest to all of you. Friends, India's close and cordial friendship with the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg is based on a very firm foundation of our shared values and common interest. As we look back on the 74 years of this friendship, we see a very close and fruitful relationship that has grown from strength to strength. Our relationship has seen a tremendous boost since the November 2020 virtual summit, which was held between our two leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are aware, we are the 5th largest economy in the world, surpassing the UK. Through our government's continuous focus on promoting a healthy investment ecosystem in the country, India has been witnessing an unprecedented amount of capital flowing into the country from prominent investors worldwide. Just to give a statistics, since 2014-15, the foreign direct investment inflows have grown consistently to reach their highest. In fact, the annual FDI doubled in the current financial year 21-22 to reach $83.6 billion. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic and its major impact, if I may say so, India's aggregate demand conditions have remained stable, buoyed by simplified access to bank credit, as well as continued consumer and business confidence, lending credence to India's economic resilience. That is very important in today's changing geopolitics. Real GDP growth across this last financial year, 21-22 for India was at a very unprecedented 8.7% as per the government data. And firms such as Moody and Deloitte expect the trend to continue with GDP growth around 7.7% for the current financial year, 22-23. Backed by these solid macroeconomic fundamentals, India is certainly poised to be the fastest growing Asian economy as per the Morgan Stanley. The absolute gross domestic product value in the last financial year reached a staggering $3.1 trillion, with recent estimates pointing towards the golden number, which our Honorable Prime Minister always envisages, 5 trillion economy by 2025. As the world's largest smartphone user base, India today has the second highest number of internet users, highest number of people adopting fintech. We just listened from the presentation of Telangana. They are interested in fintech. This is the number. And the third highest energy consumption in the world as a country of 1.4 billion population. Providing an opportunity to companies across the globe to come to India, to contribute to Make in India and make for the world. Let me just focus on now the ease of doing business. Previous speakers have already mentioned about India's journey, the upward journey. The government of India has announced a range of policy measures intended to make it easier for our global partners to conduct business in and through India, all the states, 28 states and union territories, including the territories of Ladakh, the newly created ones. Some of the ease of doing business reforms include project development cells, which have been running 24/7 to handhold investors, identify problems, obstacles, and policy issues impeding investments with an overarching empowered group of secretaries. They are monitored at the top level by secretaries to Government of India. The production-linked incentive schemes have been launched. You may be aware, $26 billion have been allocated for the next 5 years under the PLI scheme in 14 key sectors to boost manufacturing. In addition, India has announced very recently 10 billion incentive plan for semiconductor. This is a new to the bouquet. And display manufacturers, under the plan, up to 50% of a project's cost will be subsidized by government. The national single window system has been talked about. I will not discuss that. It is a one-stop for taking all the regulatory approvals and services in the country. Fantastic. The reduction in corporate tax, you may be aware, I should not be referring to that. India has now one of the most competitive tax policies for investors in the world. Corporate tax rates were reduced from 34.9% to 25.1% for existing corporates and 15% for newly incorporated companies. The remission of duties and taxes on exported products, which is a scheme with the aim to reimburse the taxes and duties incurred by exporters, such as local taxes, the electricity duties, fuel-based transportations, which are not typically exempted, can be refunded to the entrepreneur under the existing scheme. The national IPR policy is working fantastically. It's an effective IPR framework with aim to protect IPR of all Indian foreign companies operating in India. I mean, this is something that should motivate our companies in Luxembourg to come to India. This is one of the strengths. The India Industrial Land Bank, people come to the embassy to ask whether land is something to be available without any problem. So this is here the solution. The government has developed the India Industrial Land Bank. It is a geographical information system enabled database for industrial areas, including clusters, parks, zones across the country to help investors identify their preferred location for investment. So within a click of the button, they would sort of optimize their options, and then a menu of options will be given to them to come to Telangana or Andhra Pradesh or Gujarat, Maharashtra, or Rajasthan, wherever they would like to put their money on the table, depending upon their priorities and the ambitions of their promoters. The steering committee for advancing local value added and exports, it's a scale committee. It operates across 24 champion sectors. It has been constituted with industry members, embodying the true spirit of public-private partnership. On the infrastructure sector, because we are a developing country with an ambition to become a developed country soon, so Government of India, under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi ji, has made infrastructure push a key element in its vision, India at 2047, when we would celebrate 100 years of our independence. So the government has taken a number of reforms to realize those realistic ambitions, I must say. Just to give a flavor of those reforms, I must say that the Pradhan Mantri Gati Shakti National Master Plan is a master stroke. This is a $1.4 trillion national infrastructure master plan that will make a foundation for holistic infrastructure and is driven by 7 engines: roads, railways, airports, port sector, mass transport, waterways, and logistic infrastructure. And mind you, all these 7 engines, what I just mentioned, they are driven by not only the cabinet, right up to the last mile stakeholder. Their activities are being monitored as per the approved plan. And then comes the National Infrastructure Pipeline. It is a project planned for 2019 to 2025. It's a first of its kind, whole of government exercise to provide world-class infrastructure to citizens and improving their quality of life. It aims to improve project preparation and attract investments into infrastructure. The National Monetization Pipeline is the third one. It aims to create mega investment opportunities in multiple infrastructure sectors and estimates aggregate monetization potential of $80 billion assets of the central government over a 4-year period. So this is just, we are already in the ship, already in the boat. So here is the policy. So investors have to come and on board and discuss with the government and take their ambitions forward. Just to give an example, under this National Monetization Pipeline, 13 airports have been identified for operation, management, and development through public-private partnership mode with an indicative monetization value of $2.7 billion. Very recently, the national logistic policy, some of you who missed this should know this, that this policy aims to reduce logistics cost in India from 14% of GDP to less than 10%. And it will create a single window e-logistics market and focus on generation of employment skills and make the SME sector more competitive. So it's very important for our SME entrepreneurs. Friends, Luxembourg is one of the most important economic partners for India within the European Union. The cumulative FDI equity inflow from Luxembourg to India since 2000 till June 2022 stands at 4.1 billion US dollar, making it the 5th largest contributor amongst the 27 member states of the European Union. In the realm of bilateral cooperation on economy and investment, a number of recent initiatives, I'm sure, will contribute to this growth story. Let me mention a few. It's interesting and it's very recent. The Memorandum of Understanding between the Invest India, which is the National Investment Agency of India, and the Lux Innovation was signed in November 2020 to facilitate the global value chain to the mutual benefit of both countries, to make favorable conditions for a sustainable economic growth, and to facilitate bilateral efforts for enhancing inbound FDI and mutual participation in investment projects in both countries. We should explore how the ICI chapter of Luxembourg can sort of play a proactive role. Just before my remark, I was having a chat with the president, Dheerajji, and he has also some ideas. Maybe our thematic sessions can sort of deep dive into this aspect, how they can be a true partner of Invest India and Lux Innovation. The second MOU, an inter-regulatory cooperation agreement, has been signed between the Luxembourg regulator, we call it in short CSSF, which is the competent authority for the prudential supervision of the entire Luxembourg financial sector, excluding the insurance sector. And the Indian counterpart, the International Financial Services Center Authority in Gift City, Gujarat, we call it IFSA, which is the unified regulator for banking, insurance, capital market, pension sector for development and regulation of financial products, financial services, and financial institutions. That was signed very recently, this year, January 2022. So these are the drivers. Another MOU was signed between the Security and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, and its counterpart regulator in Luxembourg, we call it same CSSF, Commission de Surveillance du Secteur Financier. It was signed in June 2021 in connection with mutual cooperation and technical assistance. Ladies and gentlemen, any investment talk without a reference to environmental, social, and governance framework, ESG framework, without any reference, it will not be complete, let me say. In the context of sustainable investment, I must say ESG is becoming a key investment driver in this backdrop. It is important for all of us to understand how the institutional investors should react and reshape their investment approach and oversight in order to meet the needs and expectations of their clients. We have done some work as a government with Government of Luxembourg. Let me just make them public. In the space of issuance of green bond, I would like to mention about the MOU signed between the India International Exchange, INX, and the Luxembourg Stock Exchange in November 2020. That provides the ground to the issuers and investors an opportunity to list and trade green bonds on India INX platform with opportunity to dual list with the Luxembourg Stock Exchange. So it may be noted that Luxembourg Stock Exchange, is the largest green bond listing platform with exceptional governance standards. On 22nd of November last year, I had the privilege to work with the State Bank of India in India. And the first dual listing of SBI's green bond worth $650 million was enabled through this MOU on the securities official list of Luxembourg Stock Exchange. On 1st of June 2022, this year, a green bond issued by the Power Finance Corporation of India worth 300 million euro, which was already listed in the India INX, was also registered on the Luxembourg Security Exchange official list and displayed on the Luxembourg Green Exchange. Now let me come back to the trade in goods and services sector. Services sector, of course, has been referred to by the chairman earlier, but let me give some perspective. What is the current trend? India and Luxembourg's trade ties have also grown stronger every year and have shown a healthy recovery after the disruptions due to the COVID-19 pandemic, thankfully. In the context of today's discussion, fact file, let me take you through 5 specific sectors which have potential for business entrepreneurs from India as well as Luxembourg to collaborate and contribute towards the growth story of both countries. I would be briefly mentioning about fintech, auto and auto components, information technology and information technology enabled services, pharmaceuticals and medical devices, and startups, of course. That's the topic. Briefly, fintech has been mentioned a couple of times. I would not go through the statistics. You all know India has emerged as the fastest growing fintech market and the 3rd largest fintech ecosystem in the world, with the highest fintech adoption rate of 87% against the global average of 64%. In 2019, that was the thing. And it will continue with that journey. India has over 23 fintechs which have gained unicorn status. This is something that we should know. Funds amounting to $30 billion has been raised in this sector since 2014. Indian fintech industry was valued around 50 billion in last financial year 2020 and is estimated to reach gigantic $150 billion by 2025 with a CAGR of 25%. We have almost 2,100 fintechs, of which 67% have been set up over the last 5 years alone. The volume of digital payments in India surpassed 45 billion in April to November 2021. Total retail digital payment by value crossed $1 trillion. And by 2026, 65% of total payment will be in the digital mode. This is a great number, 65%. Ladies and gentlemen, I must say that the customer preference has been shifting to digital mode for the insurance sector. So, and it is expected that by 2025, there will be 12-fold increase in the digital premium collection in the insurance sector, 12-fold. Digital lending recorded 3-fold increase in its funding since 2017. The digital lending market in India is projected to be around $500 billion by 2030. So these numbers speak of themselves, where our investors should come and engage with. As far as auto and auto components are concerned, the numbers are fabulous. India is currently the 6th largest vehicle manufacturer after China, USA, Japan, and Germany. And we are expected to be the 3rd largest by 2026. The auto components industry in India is expected to be growing to around $200 billion by 2026. The annual turnover of the segment is already $60 billion in 2019. We're discussing about technology and innovation and disruptions through electrification of mobility sector is inevitable. What I mean by that is that electrical vehicles are coming up. So the electrical vehicle market in India is expected to be valued at $2 billion. The ACMA report says by 2023. The EV component market is expected to be growing to up to $12 billion by 2025. And along with the reduction in import duty on various categories of electric vehicles, 100% FDI is committed to the automatic route already. We have an automatic mission plan that will make India a global automobile manufacturing hub with a turnover of $300 billion by 2026. Now, as far as the schemes are concerned, the champion OEM incentive scheme and the component champion incentive schemes, in these schemes, the Indian auto sector is poised for a consistent growth and a massive potential for joint engagement with the Luxembourg companies and manufacturers. Companies in these sectors are encouraged to access technology through enabling tie-ups and further incentivizing investments in innovations. As far as IT sector is concerned and IT-enabled services are concerned, India ranks already #1 in ICT service exports. The IT and ITS is a key contributor to its economy, and the government allows already 100% FDI in the segment. Recently, the government launched the guidelines for relaxation of other service providers, including relaxation of requirements in registrations, static IPs, frequent reporting obligations, publications of network diagrams, penal provisions, etc. While referring to the beautiful presentation made by Vishnu in the context of Telangana, he mentioned about the pharmaceuticals and the life sciences sector. Just to give you a flavor, in the realm of pharmaceuticals, we are number 3rd by volume and 14th by value as far as global ranking is concerned. Similarly, in medical devices, we are the 4th largest Asian medical device market among the top 20. And our pharma market size is currently 42 billion, and it will be touching around 130 billion by 2030. Similarly, the medical devices segment, the market is around 15 billion US dollar. It will be reaching around 50 billion by 2025. Let me tell what are the opportunities then in Indian pharma in the context of Luxembourg, and why they should target the pharma industry. We have a competitive timeline for regulatory approvals and clinical trials in pharma. We have a very cost competitive manufacturing and skilled workforce, and emerging areas could be biosimilars, cell and gene therapy, drugs, orphan drugs, precision medicines, biopharmaceuticals. The PLI scheme provides anyway an opportunity to venture into these emerging areas. Similarly, in the medical devices space, we have a scheme for promotion of medical devices parks. Government has approved to establish already 4 medical devices parks to provide common infrastructure facilities. As far as startups are concerned, the numbers speak of themselves. I will not repeat those numbers. Already 77,000 startups have been recognized by the government, and there are more than 400 plus incubators and accelerators. The recognized startups are solving problems in 56 diverse industrial sectors, with 13% from IT services, 9% healthcare and life sciences, 7% in education, 5% in professional and commercial services, and 5% in agriculture, and 5% in food and beverages. The government has constantly provided additional incentives to startups by easing the burden of taxation and compliances. As an embassy in India, and having been accredited concurrently to the government of Luxembourg, we'll be happy to solve any questions or queries that our startup entrepreneurs may have in the context of coming to India, and vice versa. Finally, in the context of bilateral trade, I would like to mention that the overall bilateral trade showed a growth of almost 10%. And more notably, India's exports to Luxembourg registered more than 50% growth on a year-on-year basis in 21-22. And we're expecting it to rise even further this year. Similarly, in services sector, the growth potential of bilateral trade has been almost 8%. And India's export of services has registered a growth of 35% in the year 2020 vis-a-vis 2019. As India and EU are discussing a free trade agreement, FTA, we have very high hopes, let me say, that will bring greater benefits for both partners and in turn for the EU member states, including Luxembourg. I firmly believe that we will continue doing our best to keep improving our trade relations. We are expecting support from Luxembourg's business in sectors like green energy, especially in the field of green hydrogen, in the digital space, in the digital health services sector, biotechnology sector, financial sector, in the fintech industry, investments for our smart cities, and last but not the least, various information and technology-led services sector. Ladies and gentlemen, as India celebrates 75 years of independence under the rubric of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, we have commenced the groundwork on carving our vision for India at the year 2047 by adopting a truly participative approach to ensure holistic and all-inclusive development of India, which cuts across social and geographical strata. And this will be to ensure prosperity, focusing on leveraging growth of sunrise sectors, integrating global supply chains, promoting research and development, innovation and entrepreneurship, and resolving issues around employment and human capital development. This open an even wider realm for both India and Luxembourg to strengthen their bilateral cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, India-Luxembourg ties have witnessed an incredible strengthening, not only at the level of our top leadership, but also between individuals. The small but very vibrant Indian diaspora in Luxembourg has been instrumental in familiarizing Luxembourg to Indian culture and heritage. I'm confident that in the coming years, they will play a pivotal role in not only enhancing India's engagements with Luxembourg in the economic and financial sphere, but also will contribute substantially to take forward the overall bilateral relations to a new height. On behalf of the Embassy of India, I thank you all for your kind attention. Wishing you all a happy Navaratri. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much. I would like to ask the Vice Chairman of the Luxembourg chapter, Mr. Arun Som, to extend the vote of thanks. He's one of the founding members of the Luxembourg chapter. He has been living in Luxembourg for more than 10 years now. He's working as a CFO in ArcelorMittal CIS segment. So I would welcome him.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. For this event, I would like to thank all our special guests for this first part. Is okay? I think this working. Yeah. First I invite Mr. Rusty, and we want to just welcome him and give him a bouquet. And thank you. Thank you very much for your insightful direction to us. And I think it will be very, very helpful. We have to digest the data which we have told. Lot of data, but we all see a lot of data. So we will see that in detail. And thank you. Thank you very much. I'd also like to thank Mr. Reddy. I think he cannot see us, but he has given a very important info about our India investment perspective in Telangana, and a big thanks to him. I would like to give very special thanks to Mr. Dheeraj Khandelwal. I must tell you that he was the one who initiated this idea to have this event, and throughout last 2 months he was supporting us in planning and organization of this event. Very, very thank you, Dheeraj. And I would also like to thank Rohit. He traveled from India and became. It is a very, very special event for us, and we are very, very thankful to you. Thanks a lot. Anjani. So we move to our next part. Yeah. Okay. Good. Pleasure.
Thank you, Arunji, for your kind words. We move on to our first interactive session, and we will discuss about the startup ecosystem opportunities in inbound and outbound. For this session, I would like to welcome our speakers, Ms. Poonam Khandelwal and Mr. Jean-Michel Ludwig. Ms. Poonam Khandelwal is a chartered accountant and currently a director of market development in Venture Catalyst, which is a leading incubator in the world. With her experience in the startup ecosystem, she slowly built her startup portfolio with 30 plus investments in the field of healthcare, edtech, fintech, defense tech, and space tech, and currently mentors startups from India. Joining her is Mr. Jean-Michel Ludwig, Director of Business Development of Lux Innovation. He took the management of the startup and SME performance department and deployed Fit for Start and Fit for Investment programs. And since 2019, he has been interested with the management of a new department within Lux Innovation to attract and develop new activities. Without much ado, I would like to invite Mr. Dheeraj Khandelwal to initiate the session along with our speakers. So.
First of all, I invite Poonam Khandelwal on a dais and Jean Michael. Yeah. So Poonam, you've been from the India and been part of the various startup ecosystems in India. A lot of things been investments being done in India. A lot of you have the outside India chapters and EU market also. A lot of investment been coming to India, and you raised a lot of funds from the Korea, Japan, EU also. So would like to know more about how the things moving in India, how the Luxembourg can also be participate in such system and can invest in India. So over to you, your topic, please.
Can I give you 10 minutes quick presentation?
Yeah.
Thank you. Presentation. Yeah.
It is dynamic. It's agile. It is solving India-specific problems. It is the Indian startup ecosystem, the third largest in the world, which has turned us from a job-seeking to a job-providing country. But what placed us on the global map? It's the unrivaled ecosystem support and access to funding. Presenting India's #1 and world's #3 integrated incubator venture catalyst group.
In 2015, I realized that the startup as an asset class is emerging and there is a very good future for this. But at that time, we could visualize that India is going to be the biggest startup economy in the world.
When I heard from Anujji and Apurva Bhai about startup being the next growth engine, I could envision VCATs playing a crucial role in the startup ecosystem.
It was just a 3-people team. From there, today we have expanded to close to 110 people.
A lot of startups comes to us. They don't understand whether it is a startup qualifying idea or not. We give them right feedback.
From idea stage investing, we are backing entrepreneurs right up to 36 months of their journey, providing them capital, providing them relevant network support.
We help them identify one of the best co-founders of the team. Then they need capital. So we do D-Day. Then they need business. So we organize C-Day for them, where at least 1,000 plus CXO participates. And then we also help them go global.
In last 6 years of its inception, Venture Catalyst has educated hundreds of thousands of investors, entrepreneurs, and some of the unicorns.
A lot of people whom we went and educated become the angel investors. Today, you have around 7,000 angel investors in India. And out of which, close to 3,000 are listed with us.
And we are on a mission to create 100 startup cities in India.
In 2021, we collaborated with Sony TV to bring one of the most popular business reality show called Shark Tank.
As we speak, we are on a success of more than 75 plus companies giving up rounds, exits, liquidity events, multipliers as high as 190 times of the capital which an investor has invested.
The entire approach of integrated incubator is playing a very crucial role to bring founders, investors, and the entire ecosystem together.
Venture Catalysts has 300 startups under its umbrella. Some of these have become an integral part of our daily lives, and some have gone to create history.
We have not just been present in the metro cities, but democratized this asset class completely by going to more than 42 cities in India. Today, Venture Catalyst has also grown to 4 international geographies. We are just the only Indian investor who appears in the top 20 list.
Specific to VCATs, I believe that the opportunity to invest in idea stage and early stage entrepreneurs, especially ones coming from small towns and in unconventional industries, is a big one.
Angel investing, it's one of the least spoken about asset classes. And I feel that that's where ecosystems like Venture Catalysts come in.
I think everybody should allocate some portion of their capital through companies like Venture Catalyst.
If you want to start up, you want to build something big, dream about it, and we are here to back you. Failures are okay. We will face that journey with you and be with you together.
Let's grow with Venture Catalysts, touching 1 million lives.
Thank you, all of you. I'm Poonam Khandelwal. I'm from a small city in India, Nagpur. No more small because we have Gadkari ji and Fadnavis ji and a lot of RSS, obviously. So I was talking to people randomly and people, because he just said that he does business with a lot of people from Nagpur. I'm very proud to come here. I've been to your neighboring countries like France and Netherlands. I believe this is a beautiful country. Thank you, Anjani ji, for inviting us. Thank you, Dheeraj ji, for connecting us. First of all, my idea of this presentation is just to tell you what's happening in Indian startup ecosystem and that are we aware about it. How many of you invest in listed market in India? In the listed market? Oh, okay. Interesting. How many of you invest in startups then? Oh, wow. Just one hand in the room, obviously me too. Yeah. So interestingly, the most beautiful asset class, and we are not investing. Are we not aware of what's happening in India? There was talk by all of us that we are the 5th largest economy in the world. Still, we are the 3rd largest startup economy. We are already beating out there. And this year, in the first half year, we added more unicorns than what China did. Mark my word, maybe we'll be the 2nd largest economy soon when it comes to startup ecosystem. As an investor, are we missing out on the most beautiful asset class available right now for us to put our money is something I would like to show some light on. So going ahead, can we play the presentation, please? Yeah. So as we all know, Unicorn is a company which is valued over $1 billion. And India is home to 105 unicorns already. Surprisingly, in 2021, we added 45 unicorns. Why it is surprising? Because we were just out of COVID that time. And if we talk about it, when the world was going through a rough time, India was outshining in this particular sector. We were growing, not just in any fintech. We talk fintech, obviously we've done massively good in fintech, but we have probably right from defense tech, space tech, from T-Hub. I was there at the inaugural of the Incubation Center. It's a 5.5 lakh square feet of incubation center. One of the finest companies, Skyroot, which is a rocket company, privately owned rocket company, is from Hyderabad. So there is so much action happening, not just in Bangalore, Delhi or Mumbai. A lot of action is happening in the tier 2 and tier 3 city of India as well. How do we move it? Yeah. So this is a small snapshot. 3rd largest, we all know it. The most interesting thing which I find here is 1 out of every 10 global unicorn is born in India. So it's not just Indian unicorns, it's Indian. Mind you, well, we are talking, we as Indians, we are capable to do something exceptionally good. That's why we have around 1,150 unicorns in the world. 1 out of 10 is co-founded by an Indian person. So that's a very interesting number, which outshines everything. 2022, I will not shy away from talking that we are talking of funding winter. There was this word, Game of Thrones winter is coming. I would like to keep the talk simple, So winter is coming, winter is coming. So there was a lot of talk on funding winter, but exceptionally well. Look at India. In the first half of 2021, where we raised $13 billion, in the first half of 22, we raised almost $18 billion. Where is the funding winter? Maybe not in our country, we're warm. We are taking a lot of money from international investors. India has become one of the most vibrant economy, and one of the major reason is the government support. We hear in all the talks of Mr. Modi also, keynote speeches are now revolving around startup. Even this program, which is the launch of ICI chapter, we are talking of inbound and opportunities in startup ecosystem also. So that's a very interesting number. And look at the average funding raised by an Indian unicorn versus the others. We've raised like almost 900 million euros or dollars. It's almost the same right now. So that's very interesting numbers. Where do we look? Look at the numbers, crazy growth. So we should have started in 2015 to invest in Indian economy as a startup investor, but we are already late, I believe. If you see 2015, where we had only 8 unicorns, in 2022, we're sitting with 105 unicorns. That's a massive growth, more than 10x. And if we see in 2022, we're sure that we are crossing 500 unicorns. Because we are working so closely with the founders, the quality of the founders have increased. There is a reverse brain drain happening in India for the first time. People are coming back from different countries and they want to do business in India. They want to do their startup in India. So we look at a 500 unicorn economy, Sunicorn, Startup City, and already where we were just 6,000 startup in the year 2015, we are already sitting at around 170,000 startups registered with the DPIIT. Very interesting numbers. And one of the major reasons, as I told you, is the investor community, the local investor community, and at the same time, massive government support. I've never seen government working relentlessly to support startup, even at the tier 2, tier 3 city. I belong from a tier 2 city. So I can relate to it very well that coming from Nagpur, there are a lot of people, a lot of opportunities sitting. So if we want to achieve the $5 trillion economy plan, it cannot happen without startup anymore. It's as simple as that. Startups will contribute majorly if India wants to be there. And this is the vision which is aligned with the government also. Why India is winning, we all know about it. Internet users, youngest economy, so I'm not getting there. We all know about it, that India is winning because of the young blood in the country. The education system is strongest than the ever. There is a transformation in supply chain, logistic, warehouse, demonetization, GST. There was a funny video I would like to just, because there are a lot of Indians here, so excited to share. Now, if you go on street, the beggars are giving you QR code. Because we tell paise nahi hai, we don't have chutta, chiller. So they have started giving you QR code. That's what Paytm has done. Forget about the listing price of Paytm, doesn't matter. But it is bringing a revolution for all of us where everybody is using Google Pay, Paytm. That is transformation, the way we look. Everybody is a smartphone user in India. Okay. Can you help me? The other reason, as I told you, is the reverse brain drain. I believe being in the peak of my youth, I don't want to be settling anywhere else except my country. I'm very excited to be part of this thriving economy where things are moving. For the first time, everything has fallen in place, The politically also we are quite aligned. So can you help me? Yes. The numbers that tell the story. Oh, we've been talking too many numbers, so I'll again not go deep dive into it. The numbers is simple, that the last one, the global VC investment in India and the exit. We keep talking about, are the startups failing? 90% of the startups are failing. It's not them failing, it's us failing in picking up the right one. Are you getting my point? It's not them failing, it's us failing in picking up the right one where to invest. In venture capitalist ecosystem, we've seen the reverse. Our mortality rate is less than 10%. The reason being that we help the founders after investing in them. We give them the network support. We give them the mentorship support. And that's why the mortality rate is not what you see as an industry target. You should see it more on your own portfolio. I will quickly, because would want to talk about what we do. We've been talking about investing in India. I will tell you how we help you to invest in Indian ecosystem, keeping it very simple. Who are we? Venture Catalyst was set up in the year 2016 with a simple aim to provide and democratize angel investment in the country. When we talk angel investment, we think we need a lot of money. When we think angel investment, I don't know, sitting in Raipur, how do I invest in a company in Bangalore? So that was the problem. So ours is a platform which allows investors to come in and startups to raise funding from us. We invest anywhere between $500,000 to at least, through different funds, almost up to $10 million in one startup. The impact which we've created is that we have almost $500 million asset under management. We are the second, as per the video, we're now the second largest startup ecosystem in the world, right after Y Combinator. In the top 10, no Indian company ever made it to the startup world in the world, ranking. We are the only ones sitting in Bombay, making it globally. So that is the idea. We are the second largest, first in India. As I told you, out of the 300 startups we've invested, 300 odd startups we've invested, 90 of them have given successful exits or multipliers to our investors. Who are buying our companies? Corporates are buying our company, MNCs are buying our company, SoftBank is investing in our companies, Tiger Global is investing, Excel is investing. A lot of people from global diaspora are investing in VCAT's backed company. Also, interestingly, we all know about Shark Tank India. Yeah, we all are. Yes, great. So we all know we were the exclusive knowledge partner for Shark Tank India. They asked us to come on board. I met the Sony team. They asked us to come on board to help them evaluate startups, which will come on the show. And even the sharks, they were curated by us. We interviewed 300 people from India, and then you see all the sharks on the TV. So that is the impact that we have created. These are the companies which we've invested, BharatPay being the star performer. That was our first unicorn in the portfolio, given like a 190x. And we have evaluated close to 23,000 startups applications and have invested in just 300. So yeah, we are better than the IITs and IIMs of the world. We invest very less because, as I told you, it's all about picking the right company. Can you help me? These are the exits. Next. At Venture Catalyst, we ourselves have raised funding from the likes of Radhakrishna Damani, Mr. Kamal Agrawal, Haldiram's Nagpur, Enam Securities, Ritesh Agrawal, Oyo Rooms, Aman Gupta, boat founder, Z Business founder. So we ourselves have raised money and we want to become ourselves the $2 billion company in times to come, where we invest in at least 5,000 startups through different funds. How do we do it? Somebody asked me, do you have funds? Yes, we are a SEBI registered regulated body wherein we invest in startups through different funds, which are category 1, category 2 funds. And as an investor, what we do for you is get the best startups from the country. You won't believe we invested in a company called My Fitness. Whenever you are in India, please eat the peanut butter of My Fitness. You will enjoy it. It's like no other peanut butter you've eaten. That company comes from Silvassa. We don't even know the state. It's a small town, that company. And the founder is a chartered accountant, coincidentally. broken English, not very great English, but knows how to make a business, what we call dhanda. Dhanda janta tha. Already acquired by Mensa brand. The company sold out within 2 years. So that's the power which the tier 2, tier 3 city of the country is bringing in. And our expertise is simple, that we know how to identify these startups. We go to the nook and corner of the country and get them to us. Beardo, which is the men grooming product, which became a star portfolio. It was acquired by Marico within 6 months. Marico said, we cannot make a product like this. They acquired our company. So Reliance acquired one of our company. OYO acquired one of our company. HUL investors in one of our company. So that way we provide access to our investors. We have global institutions. And the best thing is now SIDBI, which is fund of our country. They have also invested in our 9 Unicorns fund, which is also SEBI registered category 1 fund. Not going much in depth. This has been a journey of venture capitalists. There has been different things. We now have 5 funds. There is Angel Fund. There is a $120 million accelerator fund. Yesterday only we launched a $200 million Elevate Capital Fund, wherein a Korean bank is leading the round. And same way, we've invested, we've starting with a prop tech fund and a fintech fund. So that way we are investing in sector specific businesses, because we do see a great opportunity in fintech sector in India, and we want to participate in it. So whenever you are in India, every startup has to take money from us, because it's not just giving them $500,000. We're providing them up to $20-30 million as per their requirement, and also with the expertise. The reason why we are in Luxembourg, the reason why we are in London, because this is a forward integration for our companies. The companies where we invested just $500,000, maybe if they want to raise a next round, or if they want to do something strategic with your country or your city, that is how we are providing this gap with. We're backed by co-founders. I'll not go much into it. So how do you, can you help me? Next. So we get in touch with 500 startups every month now, because the number of companies have increased in India. We bring it down to just 10. We're a team of almost now 150 people, the highest number of people in any company like this, where we are just all our focus is on getting good startups and then supporting them. For our investors, you get to invest in 10 top startups in the country, wherein you curate, you pick up the deals you like. You may be a fintech expert, you may be an edtech expert, you may be a, Karanji might be a defense expert. So you get to select the company where you want to invest as low as INR 3 lakh rupees. That's why building a portfolio. It's very important to build a portfolio. You cannot just put money on one startup and just say, no, you have to put in 10, 12 companies. Historically, if you put in 15 companies, the chances of your portfolio outperforming is very good. You can look at anywhere between 3x to 10x return, which is a decent and a more than what you get in the other asset classes. The startup is winning. We have different ways. Can you, move the slide? Yes. So there are 2 approaches. I'll just finish. I know we are running a little behind the schedule, so I'll not take much time, but how we do it is simple, that we host a lot of calls with our investors. You listen to the founder. If you like it, you invest as low as 3 lakh rupees. Post that, all the investment support is provided by us. The continuous mentoring support is provided by us, because as mentioned, we are an incubator. We are not an investment banker. So we want to be with the company till the end of it, for its entire journey. So with our investors also, that is the idea, that we provide you with whatever type of companies you wish to invest, as low as if you want to put maybe 2,700 euros, that's all. And you can start building your portfolio. We always thought that startup investment is a big boys club. No, it's no more a big boy club. We want to democratize angel investment and bring it to each and every person, reach of each and every person. Whether from Luxembourg you can invest or not, absolutely you can invest. We so I was talking about the gift city. We have already applied a license in the gift city and we expected to get it in 2 months. We have a Mauritius feeder fund also. So if you want to invest from Luxembourg to India, it's very hassle-free right now. All you need to have a PAN card. And if you don't have a PAN card, maybe after 2 months, you can invest through our gift city fund also. So there are a lot of initiatives which we are taking to simplify investing in India in this particularly startup side. All I do is breathe startup, eat startup, see startup. And I've myself invested in 30 odd startups and my listed portfolio is just 20% and my unlisted portfolio is 80%. Yes, I have this appetite to take high risk because I know there is a great opportunity for high return, but it need not be the case with everybody. I sit close to the ecosystem, so it becomes easier for me to take that decision. But even if you listen to the best talks, the best economists of the country, you will listen that at least 10% of your portfolio, to begin with maybe 5%, but overall 10% of your investment portfolio, you should invest in this asset class. Though it's risky, it should come last, but in that case, it's something which can give you returns as high as, the downside is 0, but the upside can be as high as 180x or a 200x. We've seen it ourselves. One of our investors from Sioni is a small town in Madhya Pradesh, invested 5 lakhs in Bharat Pay, and he made a 4 crore whooping exit. Now, that's not something which I want to, it's like an all India rank 1 opportunity. I'm not saying that every one of us will get it, but then there are opportunities if you get it right. So maybe next. Yeah, this is a conservative, achievable, and aggressive. Some action points that how much you can expect a return on. 3x is a very conservative, but still it amounts to 20% net IRR. 5x is absolutely achievable. My own experience says that 5x is very much achievable if you pick up the right companies and divide the portfolio in the necessary way, then it's almost a 32% IRR, and 10x if you get lucky. If your overall portfolio is performing 10x, then it's a whooping IRR of 52%. So the idea of this presentation, the idea to come here in your city was obviously to understand more about Luxembourg and also just to tell you what's happening back in your country and are we missing out. So even in the listed market, the penetration is less than 5%, but that's where the people are making money. We all should know that. All the people who make money are in the listed market. Gone are the days of real estate and gold. It's the listed market and it's the unlisted market. So ignore at your own risk. I would say startup ecosystem is booming in our country. And I believe working here that we'll be second largest soon. US might take a little more time, but we'll be there soon. So that's all from my side. I have my colleague Priyanshi also here with me. Thank you for joining in from London. And I live in India. Thank you, Anjani ji, for inviting us. Thank you, Dheeraj ji. And we're here if you have any queries. Thank you so much, Luxembourg. It's a beautiful country and beautiful weather. Thank you.
Thank you, Poonam. You guided us, to invest in the fund, but most of the people over here are looking, to have your, own startup. People are just missing, to have, part of the startups ecosystem and to be a entrepreneur. So how you can help them to invest in their startup?
Yes, though we're very bullish on investing in Indian startup ecosystem, we've done few investment if the founder is Indian. So we've invested in a company in London, maybe 2-3 of them in London, few in Singapore, but the founder has to be Indian. So yeah, happy to support. If you have a pitch deck, please do share it with us.
Thank you. Now, Jean, is my stage yours. We are from India, and a lot of startups, being in India, wanted to have their tie-ups in the Luxembourg, and maybe in the funding part of it. And we have seen a lot of things about the, Luxembourg. So happy to, see your presentation.
take this one. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So it's my pleasure to be with you today. What I'm going to do within the next 10, 15 minutes is to present Luxembourg, the type of company we are looking for, give you in a nutshell an overview of what is the startup ecosystem, and also why it could be attractive for companies coming or startup coming from India. So, check if this works. So maybe just a few words about myself or the organization I work for. Luxinnovation has been mentioning a few times today. Luxinnovation is the national innovation agency in Luxembourg. We are used to say that we are the arm of the Ministry of the Economy for implementing its innovation policy in Luxembourg. So we are not a governmental organization, but we are paid 100% by the government for making innovation happen. That's our motto within companies in Luxembourg. And my own responsibility is to work for or to lead the department aiming at creating new business in Luxembourg. So everything related to the startup environment, and also promoting Luxembourg abroad for attracting new ventures here in the country. So here you have a little bit the ambition of the government, the Ministry of the Economy, for the few years. So the vision is actually to combine the objective to be a carbon neutral country in the future, and to invest a lot for being really a digital country. Investing a lot in data and everything will be part of this strategy. So next slide, please. With regards to the sector, so Luxembourg is well known everywhere in the world for being one of the main financial centers in the world. But there are still, since a few years, a lot of effort to diversify the economy. So to invest in a different sector in order to balance a little bit more the GDP of the country compared to what was invested in the past in the banking sector. So here you have a few examples of the investment we have been invested in over the past years. The space sector has been mentioning a few times. So we have an history in this sector, and we have SES Astra, which is the second largest satellite operator in the world, which was born actually in Luxembourg about 25 years ago. But since a few years, the government has decided to take a bet while investing in something called space resources. So we have been the first country in the world putting in place a legislation for commercial use of space resource. Some people may think that's crazy. What are you going to use? We don't even know how to extract space resources from the universe. But just having this statement put Luxembourg on the map worldwide and attracted a lot of companies from many, many countries. So I won't pass through the different sectors, but I just want to make a reference within the health tech, because that's also something that has been mentioned by one of the previous speakers. In the health tech, the country has been investing a lot for building strong academic competencies in the country. So not in all the area, but especially for everything related to predictive medicine, for example, and everything related to a digital device. So we have strong academic background now in this sector. And how can we be attractive for companies coming from abroad? Actually, you know that in this sector, especially with regards to the medical device, you have a strong regulation in place for actually tackling European markets. So you have the regulation and a specific business model, because most of this kind of medical device are reimbursed by the social security. In Luxembourg, we want to put a kind of fast track for a company who wants to tackle European market, while reducing the time for someone getting the CE certification and getting the approval from the authority to get reimbursed. And once you have in Luxembourg, you can actually go from a commercial perspective to all the other countries. But here you see the other sector that we are pushing forward, financial services, of course, and with the fintech we have and we want to push forward. Industry 4.0, we have quite high labor costs in Luxembourg. If we want to keep an industry in Luxembourg, we don't have any other choice than having the most modern plant here in the country. Next slide, please. So with regards to the financing landscape, we were presenting some perspective from venture capitalists. Here, actually, we have quite strong public grants for companies being startup, small, medium-sized or large company who invest in R&D. And we are always used to make or to put in place the best possible combination between what we have here in Luxembourg, what is available at European level. The European Commission has also very strong instruments for boosting the development of startup. And of course, relationship with the private investor we have here in the country, being the business angels, venture capitalists, or some other private investors that we have. We don't have so much private investors yet. Well, we have a lot of private investors, but not so much investing in the startups. But there are more and more because they have realized that actually there are also more and more startups to invest in here in the country. And for attracting also private investors from abroad, we have this Luxembourg Future Fund, which is also a mechanism or something that has been put in place by the Ministry of the Economy. It's a fund of funds. So if a venture capitalist is interested in establishing operation in Luxembourg, is interested in investing in local companies, the government can put a top up of the initial investment that is foreseen. Next slide, please. One of the flagship program, I won't go into the details of all the instruments we have, but we were speaking about this Fit for Start acceleration program. And this is very powerful also for attracting startups and scale-ups from abroad, because actually it's a 6 months acceleration program where a foreign company can actually test the local market and test the opportunity to land somewhere in Europe and to see if there are some good perspective within European Union. This program actually combines funding up to 150k euro, private coaching, not done by ourselves, but private coaches that we recruit, and of course also free of the office space and so on. And one of the particularity of this program is that we, as Luxinnovation or the Ministry of the Economy, we don't select the company. We have left the space to the private investors, to serial entrepreneurs, so really people that are hands-on in the business of the startups for making the best selection of the company we want to accelerate. So this program has been very successful. It's now been existing since 7 years. And we have on an average around 500 applications per year for selecting up to 35 startups per year in 3 verticals: space, health tech, and digital sector. So next slide, please. Here is actually a small snapshot on the startup ecosystem itself. So combining everything a startup needs for being comfortable in Luxembourg. And the particularity of this startup ecosystem, we're used to say, well, it's small is beautiful, you know. The particularity is that all these actors are strongly interconnected. So we're all working together, meaning that for someone who is incubated in one of these incubators, it's so easy for them to be also in contact with us, of course, but also with anyone who can provide them with funding, with private services, and so on and so forth. This ecosystem is very dynamic as well from an event perspective. So every day, almost every day, you have something happening within an incubator, workshop, pitch events, and so on and so forth. And With regards to tech event, I just want to mention one of them, which is Arch Summit. Why? Because it's happening soon, end of October. Arch Summit is an event organized by Tomorrow Street, which is the accelerator of Vodafone here in Luxembourg. And it's an international tech event where Vodafone invite all a large number of suppliers they have from all over the world, suppliers that wants to collaborate with startups. So around this event, we at Luxnovation are very used to welcome delegation from all over the world, and we organize a food program the day before, the day after, to make them able to meet a maximum of people. Next slide, please. Here I was referring to open innovation, and that's also something very important for a startup being early stage or a company coming from overseas who wants to test opportunities in Europe. If we don't have a single opportunity here in Luxembourg, being a customer, being a partner for proof of concept or something like that, it will be very difficult to stick them here in the country. So here you have just a few examples of the company we are used to work with and that are really willing to actually collaborate with startups in different sectors. So we or the Luxembourg Stock Exchange, it's not here in the slides, but Luxembourg Stock Exchange also to demonstrate their willingness to work with startups and to innovate. They are sharing with us their innovation challenge in order to try to find some tech companies that can help them to filling these gaps they have in these innovation challenges. So I think it's the last slide on my side. No, maybe this one is important as well. I did not give you a lot of figures because, you know, I was very impressed by the figures from India. Maybe if I would put some figures, something per capita, that would be much more impressive. We are number one unicorn per capita. We are number 4 investment raised per capita in Europe. So, but just to give you in a nutshell the performance with regards to innovation, it's not a century story in Luxembourg. It has really started about 20 years ago. We're not so bad in Europe and just beside the key leaders. And from a business perspective, I won't go throughout all the details, but from a business perspective, political stability. So what is decided now by the government won't change within the next 5 years or within the next 10 years. So they are following a roadmap. And even if the party changes, they are always trying to find consensus in the decisions they take for the country. And also what is very important is the multilingual aspect of Luxembourg. You know, we are used to work in English. You can contract in English, which is not the case in France or Germany and so on. So that's also very much more easy for a foreign company to come here in the country. And access to a multilingual workforce. We have about 200,000 commuters coming from France, Belgium or Germany every day. So that also allows anyone coming from India to find the right competencies for tackling this big European market. That's all for me today. So I'm very happy to be here. I learned a lot. I thank AI for their kind invitation, and really I look forward collaborating with you for the future. We have already some MOUs, but I'm sure that will be reinforced in the future. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Ludwig. We had some very interesting discussions just now. Just as a matter of, I think, just the timing, we would like to start with we would like to have a small token of appreciation for Mr. Ludwig. Yeah, yes. So, Mr. Anthony, if you could.
We really apologize for a little bit delay, but Jean-Michel has to leave, so we would want to send him a thank you for being in here. And then we will start with the second session of the interactive part. Jean-Michel, please, from Luxembourg. Thank you for being in here.
Thank you. So moving on, we have our next session to discuss the business opportunities while trading in India. For this, we have Mr. Karan Garg, who will be moderating this session with our other eminent speakers from India. Mr. Karan Garg is an ex-judge who served as Registrar in Supreme Court of India and Member Secretary of All India E-Courts Committee, SSC for Government Recruitment and Process Reengineering. He's running one of India's most rapidly growing business developments and business incubations platform, TLGS Consulting Group. Sister concern is TLGS Legal, which provides services for litigation, white-collar investigation, and arbitrations. His defense venture is BSA Bharat, a defense manufacturing company working closely with DRDO, MOD, Armed Forces, and CAPFs. So Mr. Karan Garg for all of you.
A very good evening to all the distinguished members. My special thanks to Khandelwalji, Anjani sir, the Luxembourg team of the ICI to organize and invite us here. Harish Chandra sir for being here. He's president of India Achievers Forum. And of course, Dr. Chaturvedi. And so I think the team is there from India, the session. We may invite them. And it's getting a little late in India, so it's around 10:40 there. So this second session, as I'm told, is kept for understanding little more about Indian government's focus on new sectors, reforms, and changes implemented for the ease of doing business in India. So we have invited various distinguished members from government and industry for this session. Let me invite Shri Neeraj Sinha, Additional Secretary, Niti Aayog, Government of India. Sir has over 33 years of experience working with Government of India. Since 2019, he's working with Niti Aayog, heading the verticals of science and technology and digital communications. He's an expert in new and renewable energy, electric vehicles, and has done a lot of transfer of technologies. In his capacity, having worked with the principal scientific advisor to the Prime Minister of India. So, welcome, sir, to this session here of India-Luxembourg Connect, organized by the ICI Luxembourg.
Thank you, Karan. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Should we start with the question and answer? Okay. No problem. Yeah. So we apologize for getting a little late here. I think it's already 10:50 in India. So we can start with the session. So, sir, my first question to you is, considering your invaluable contributions to Niti Aayog and other science and technology projects in India, what are your thoughts on Government of India's current policy approach with respect to renewable and new green energy, and what should be the way forward?
Thank you, Karan. I hope I am audible because...
Sure, sir.
Yes, okay, good. So, Karan, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here with all of you today. Although we have joined virtually, but we had locked down almost an hour and a half ago. So it was a pleasure learning from the other speakers and finding out their perspective on how we improve on the trade relations between India and Luxembourg. So to answer your question, Karan, as we in the country set our eyes on meeting the clean energy targets, the government of India has released draft norms for green energy in the year 2021, that is last year. And the Ministry of Power has also circulated draft electricity rules for promoting renewable energy through green energy open access. And these rules were also released last year in 2021. And these green energy draft rules provide details such as renewable purchase obligation, green energy open access, the names of the nodal agencies, the procedure for the grant of green energy open access, banking, and cross subsidy surcharge. Now, India's inclination towards green energy domain is very evident from the making of these draft rules. Now, just to quote some figures, the installed capacity of the green energy sector in India is at approximately 94.43 gigawatts as in the financial year 2021, with a target to reach 275 gigawatts by the financial year 2027. That is 5 years from now. So another step towards green energy is the development of carbon capture, utilization, and storage, which is designed to capture carbon dioxide emissions from combustion of fossil fuels. And as per estimates, we can absorb 85% to 95% of carbon dioxide emissions in the atmosphere, which are emitted through various sources, be it vehicular, be it the power plants, be it our cement plant, be it our steel plants, etc. Now, while I say this, it is also important for me to recount the target set by our Prime Minister for India to reach net carbon neutrality by the year 2070. And that is something we are committed to, and we are all working towards that. And carbon capture, utilization, and storage is one way which will definitely help us in achieving that target. Now, finally, recently, as we all know, NTPC Limited is the biggest power producer or the power utility in India. It is a public sector undertaking of the government of India. And we have a plant, it's a super thermal power station in a place called Vindhyachal in Madhya Pradesh in India of the NTPC. And it is a 500 megawatt coal-fired power plant where there is already a project that is being implemented with some help from international cooperation to capture carbon and then convert it into methanol. And then methanol can obviously be used for various purposes, including for vehicular applications. So the Department of Science and Technology in the Government of India has a very active national program on carbon dioxide storage and research. So with all these, and of course, what I've said is definitely not exhaustive. There are a lot of other initiatives that are going on, which I cannot recount here because of lack of time. But I thought I'll just capture these to give an idea of the commitment of the Government of India to the subject of green energy and also to the subject of meeting our climate commitments.
So as you mentioned about combating climate change, and we know EVs are the most chosen way of transportation. And the government of India has also acknowledged that we are going to bring it in a phased manner. So what is required to be done and where India stands in the EV development segment, sir?
See, Karan, the scope of the electric vehicle market is multidimensional, not only in India, but the world over. And in India, we involve a wide array of stakeholders in the EV market. Now, as we all know, for an automotive market, that is 5th largest in the world and slated to be the 3rd largest very shortly. It is imperative for us to pick up EV adoption at a mass level. And we need to do this in an accelerated manner because, and by the way, the figures of last year, that is 2021, show our commitment. Almost 330,000 electric vehicle units were sold in the year 2021. And this is a growth of almost 168% over 2020. So, and there are some reports that suggest that we will be breaching the 9 million mark by 2027, as far as EV units are concerned. that is in 5 years from now. Now, electric vehicles are important market segments, and they are important for sustainable environment as well. However, in India, we have a very large market for two-wheelers. And in the financial year of 2021, electric two-wheelers were the largest segment in the electric vehicle market in India. And they accounted for 96.91%, almost 97% of the total sales volume. So the electric four-wheelers have also gained traction owing to the gradual adoption of electric vehicles for public transport. And we also have an increasing popularity of hybrid e-cars in India, which is expected to further propel the electric vehicle four-wheeler market in the country. Now, the government of India has undertaken several initiatives to promote the manufacturing and adoption of electric vehicles in India. This is not only for reducing emissions, to take care of our commitment to international conventions, but this is also to develop e-mobility as a potent replacement to fossil fuel mobility in the wake of the rapid urbanization that is happening in the country. The Indian market needs encouragement for indigenous technologies, and we are obviously open to international cooperation here. And not only will this international cooperation leverage the Indian market, but it will also leverage the Indian industry, the Indian EV industry, so to say. And according to information that I have, there is already a memorandum of understanding between India and Luxembourg in this field of space. So I would strongly suggest that our two nations should come forward in the field of green energy and technology as well to contribute towards a greener and a healthier climate. Electric vehicles, of course, will play one major role there.
Sure.
Thank you.
So one more thing, sir, if we may touch upon the topic of transfer of technology agreements, because you have a lot of experience dealing that in the PSA office.
Yeah.
So because in order to attract investments, TOTs remain a major issue. So what are your thoughts on that, sir?
See, Karan, we all know that the investment climate in India has improved considerably at a very accelerated pace since we opened up our economy almost 31 years ago. That was in 1991. And this is primarily attributed to the ease in foreign direct investment rules in India. And India today is part of the top 100 clubs of countries on ease of doing business. The government has been making several efforts, including easing our foreign direct investment regulations in various industries, in our public sector undertakings, in oil refineries, in the telecom sector, in the defense sector. And India's FDI inflows, foreign direct investment inflows, have reached record levels in the financial year 2020-21. And I would here especially mention the FDI inflow in India in the renewable energy sector. It stood at a staggering almost $1.03 billion for the first half of financial year 2021-22. So we are aspiring to introduce new policies to promote swapping, which is a service that will allow electric vehicle drivers to replace depleted battery blocks for freshly charged ones at swap stations. So this will obviously take care of fast charging of the recharging of the electric vehicle batteries, and it will also reduce the anxiety of drivers, because otherwise charging at charging stations take a minimum of 20 to 25 minutes, even when we are using fast chargers. So we are working very actively on developing a policy for the swapping of batteries as far as electric vehicles is concerned. And the government is also expected to finalize incentives under its new battery swapping scheme for electric vehicles, and this will bring a big push to our decarbonization goals. And finally, India can enter into agreements with various nations, including those in Europe, which already own such technologies. And this will obviously be mutually beneficial for both India and the partnering nations. So we can also look forward to an increased business opportunity in India as far as electric vehicle swapping, battery swapping is concerned. So these are some thoughts that come to my mind as far as improving of ease of doing in business in India is concerned.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your
Thank you,
time.
Karan. Thank you.
Now, I'd like to invite Shri P. Uday Kumar, former Chairman and Managing Director, National Small Industries Corporation, Government of India. Mr. Uday Kumar is an engineer and postgraduate from IIM Bangalore and has 35 years of experience in MSME sector, petroleum and fertilizer sector. He is former investment committee member of the P Growth Fund, namely SRI Fund, which is the fund of the Ministry of MSME, and former chairman of NSIC Venture Capital Fund. And he was instrumental in launch of new schemes like First Time Exporter Scheme, Micro Subsidy Scheme, amongst others. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, good evening to all of you. Am I audible?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Audible, sir.
Good evening to all the delegates, my co-panelists. I would like to extend my thanks and compliments to the Chartered Accountants Association of Luxembourg and Mr. Kedan, who was also instrumental in uniting me for this program. Shall I go through the presentation or?
Sir, if you have a presentation, we can run the presentation.
Yeah,
also, sir.
the presentation.
Okay.
Let's start with the presentation. My focus is primarily on MSME centric, and I think my predecessors as well as the other speakers have extensively discussed on FDI funding in India. I would like to focus on MSMEs and little bit startups. I think I need not repeat the statistics. This is for the benefit of the delegates from Luxembourg. An Indian MSME ecosystem is one of the largest in the world, and currently there are about 63 million enterprises, and it provides about 110 million employment to people, and currently there are about 6,000 products manufactured by the MSME, and it contributes 45% to the manufacturing output, and it also contributes 40% of the export. The next slide, please. And as my predecessors mentioned, India, no doubt, India has emerged as the third largest startup ecosystem. And today we have about, proudly we have 107 unicorns with a total valuation of US $340 billion as on 7th September. In fact, the 2021 itself witnessed about 44 entries to the unicorn club, and there's some more in the pipeline. Next slide, please. Having talked about broadly the MSME ecosystem, one of the main concerns for the MSMEs in India is the credit growth. The total expected demand by MSMEs in terms of credit is about $45 billion US, and out of which, if you look at it, 25% of the MSME funding is mostly coming from personal and from the own operators. And 40% of the lending is through informal channels. So this is where actually there's a huge opportunity lying ahead for the FPIs as well as the foreign investors, which can be channelized as a formal way of lending to the SMEs. And if you look at the interest rates, are almost double than the formal sources. Next slide, please. This is actually some little bit of analysis. At what stage the different forms of fundings, credits are facilitated to the MSMEs. If you look at it, actually, like at the startup stage, mostly the fund is coming from the personal, because startup doesn't have any history. So it comes from the personal funds or from the own resources. Then again, it also comes from the friends. So practically, if you see from the public investments or banks investments are almost nil. And when you go to the next stage, that is the struggling stage. Again, the funds can be mobilized from banks and NBFCs. because the business is an operation. And the next, when it comes to stable, if you look at it, actually, like everybody is willing to lend the funds, banks or private equities. When it goes for the expansion, this public equity or initial public offer help them in a big way. So this is just to indicate the various stages of investment which are required for those MSPs. Next slide, please. And this again, my predecessors, some of the predecessors already talked about. Unlike the banking sector has got a limitation of providing credit to that MSMEs because they require collateral, they require security. But the alternate investment finances funds, they provide largely funds without any collateral, without any securities. So as per the SEBI registration, there are three categories of funding options: category 1, category 2, category 3. And the category 2 is the most sought after. And like it comes in by way of private equity and debt funds and fund of funds. Next slide, please. And this again it's already been mentioned by my predecessors. I think I will skip to the next slide. Yeah, those are some of the digital initiatives of Government of India, the MSM sector. Everything is now online, including the registration. There's also MSM data bank and banks loans to the fintech platform sanctioned in United States. There is a Mudra loan in startup and stand-up India in for digital means. There is a huge government market procurement portal which procures almost all products and services for the government and public sectors, and Sambandh portal which provides an interactive platform between the MSME vendors and the public sector. And in case of any payment related disputes, the Samadhan portal takes care, and the TRUST provides a kind of a bill discounting platform. There are many more actually. There's only a few which I want to highlight. Next slide, please. And this I just want to focus on experience of launching this fund of funds. It's called the Self-Reliant India Fund, and this is one of the first of its kind, launched by the Ministry of MSME, wherein I was part of the launch process. In Indian rupees, about 10,000 crores seed fund is coming from the Ministry of MSME. Another rupees 40,000 crores is coming from the private equity industry, and we are operating the mother funds. In fact, this is registered as a category 2 fund, SEBI, and we have also incorporated a joint subsidiary company called NSIC Venture Fund Limited, and in the corporate form. And we have already empaneled about 30 private equity funds, and this funds will be infusing growth equity funds to manufacturing, services, and traditional industries of MSMEs. We offer a decent model rate, and this fund is quite successful, like the other government's funds. And within a month of 7 months period, we empaneled about 30 private equity funds, and they've already started investing in portfolio companies. And this is expected to be a game changer for the MSMEs, the manufacturing and the sector. Next one. And this is a structure of this C fund, which is launched through NVCL, that is NSIC Venture Capital Fund Limited. And we have an advisory board, overarching board. Then we also have an investment committee, and we have two supporting partners, on legal advisor and SPA Cat as our fund manager, and the daughter funds, as I said, 30 funds have been already onboarded, and they are investing into MSME portfolio companies. And this is an interesting question actually. Why invest Luxembourg? I think all of you will be aware Luxembourg is a gateway to the euro, and 60% of Europe's GDP can be just in 1 hour flight from Luxembourg. And also it has got a very strong political, cultural, and business neighbors. It is a trilingual country where Luxembourg is German, French for official languages, English is widely spoken. And so international teams can easily set up many startups Because you have Luxembourg has got very attractive, very impressive schemes for the startups. Next. Why go invest in India? I think most of the predecessors have spoken about it. I just not want to repeat much. And of course, as I just only a few points I would like to highlight. There are about 77,000 startups have been established so far, and this startups spread over 656 districts from 30 states, 1 union territories, and there are about 107 unicorns as of now. Um, there are unicorns which are born in 2022, the market valuation of 26 billion. And the 1.2 billion fund of fund has been managed for growing domestic venture capitals. And this has created about 5.2 lakh jobs across the country. 45% of them are based in the tier 2 cities. And India is the largest number of startups being added every hour. 4 startups per hour is being added. There are 32 regulations have been simplified for startups. So, and the ease of doing is very, very comfortable for any companies who are going to come and invest in India. There are about 220 income tax exemptions have been provided, and the PLA scheme, which was mentioned about my predecessors, it's a big game changer with about 14 sectors have been identified for investment here. I think these are the reasons which I think any foreign investors should take India seriously. And my predecessors also mentioned huge opportunities emerging in various sectors like whether it's electric vehicles, or defense, or agriculture, medical systems, digital manufacturing. So I think I can again request the investors to look at India seriously. Next. Yeah, I think with this a few inputs, I would like to again thank the panel, plus Luxembourg, India, for providing me this opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. It was quite an insightful presentation. I'd like to invite Dr. Maitri Nanda. Dr. Nanda is former Secretary of Aeronautical Development Board of Defense Research and Development Organization, Government of India. She has acquired a PhD in cryogenic engineering from IIT Kharagpur, and she worked in the Technology Development Board, Directorate of Futuristic Technology Management in DRDO. And I like to invite Air Marshal Naresh Verma, AVSM VSM, former member of Armed Forces Tribunal. Air Marshal Verma was appointed as the first Director General Administration of the Indian Air Force and subsequently as the Air Officer in Charge Administration, and has 40 years of experience in the Air Force. Post-retirement, he served as member of Armed Forces Tribunal and Director, India International Center. So I welcome both of you, sir and ma'am, to this session. So this session is mostly devoted on the defense technology and defense industry in India. What are the opportunities? How India is the growing defense manufacturing hub. So we will be talking about the opportunities which are available inter both the countries and how investments can flow in India and how technology transfers can be done. So before we start, I'd like to request Air Marshal Naresh Verma to kindly give some brief inputs on India-EU geostrategic interests in the backdrop of the evolving defense ecosystem.
Thank you, Karan. Thank you for having me on the panel. I also thank Anjani Ladia ji and the Luxembourg chapter of ICAI. And it's a pleasure to speak to such an august gathering. To start with, on the India-EU relations and the strategic interests, India-EU relations date to the early 1960s. India was amongst the first countries to establish diplomatic relations with the European Economic Community, and a cooperation agreement was signed in 1994, which took the bilateral relationship beyond trade and economic cooperation. And of course, the global geopolitical scenario has changed over the past years. The factors like the uncertain US policy outlook, the upending of the liberal multilateral order, and the rise of an assertive China has led both India and EU to realize that a substantial engagement was rather imperative. Also, considering India's growing regional and international relevance, it is crucial for the EU to renew its focus on developing the economic, political, and defense partnership. A realignment of trade policies and emerging prospects of collaboration in the post-pandemic world provide India and the EU an opportunity to transform their economic ties into a robust strategic partnership. So, EU is India's second largest trading partner, amounting to $112 billion worth of trade in goods in 2021. EU's share in foreign investment inflows to India has more than doubled from 8% to 18% in the last decade. EU is the second largest destination for Indian exports, 14% of the total, that is after the USA. The largest sectors of India's exports to the EU are engineering goods, pharmaceuticals, gems, jewelry, other manufactured goods, and chemicals. In fact, over 6,000 EU companies are set to operate in India, and they are providing direct and indirect employment to over 6 million people. And with the establishment of an investment felicitation mechanism for EU in India in 2017, there is a renewed focus on facilitating ease of doing business norms of EU investors in India. My predecessor spoke on ease of doing business. Mr. Devashish also spoke. The mechanism allows for close coordination between the Indian government and the EU to formulate solution to the issues and problems faced by EU investors in operating in India. As far as defense and security is concerned, the 6th India-EU foreign policy and security consultations were held in 2018 to review the ways and means of strengthening India-EU strategic partnership. A bilateral dialogue on counterterrorism is held from time to time to discuss cooperation in the area such as countering of terrorism. India and EU have gradually enhanced bilateral exchanges and cooperation in the field of defense and security. This includes mutual ship visits to each other, collaboration in escorting human aid ships across the seas, and exchanges among military officials, including the EU Military Committee. The new Information Fusion Center India Ocean region is in New Delhi, that is the IFC-IOR, has recently been linked up with the Maritime Security Center of Horn of Africa, which is called MSC-HOA, established by the European Union Naval Force, that is NAVFOR. Some of the major factors which favor for foreign investors to invest in India. Of course, all the predecessors have spoken on this. The major positive and encouraging factor for Indian investors to invest in India are the low wages, highly skilled workforce, and of course, India is the fastest growing economy. As it has been said, by 2024, we are going to be a 5 billion economy. And Indian government is on the go and proactive. It has laid down liberal foreign direct investment policies. And India's defense sector houses the second largest military force in the world. It is also the third largest military spender in the world. The military budget is 2.15 of the GDP, and GDP is 64.95 lakh crore. And automatic route limit for FDI in the defense sector has been enhanced to 74% and 100% by the government route. Government opened defense industry for even private sector participation. Growth of defense sector, growth of defense sector in India. So the CAGR, that is compounded annual growth rate of 38.5% over the last 2 years. Defense production has enhanced performance production value of, that is the OFB, Ordnance Factory Boards, and the DPSUs has grown to 51,351 crore INR. India's defense manufacturing sector recorded increased production from 10.9 billion USD in financial year 21 to 11.85 billion USD in financial year 22. India's defense export has grown 6 times in the previous 5 to 6 years. Made in India defense equipment and services are provided to more than 75 countries.
So if I may ask one pertinent question here regarding, since we have DAP 2020, we have DPPP policies and all the makes and buys where we are trying to make in India, but also we are inculcating the technologies which are available elsewhere in the world. So I'd like to ask Dr. Nanda one short question here. Like, what are your thoughts on India emerging as the next defense manufacturing hub?
Karan, there are many factors, which comes into the picture in this. And we can start with, see that the defense ecosystem not only depends on the FDR or anything, it's a merger of many things. We talk about the ecosystems, we start with the design, development, innovations, and manufacturing in India. So when we talk about DAPs, starting with this Buy Indian, where it is the indigenous design, development, and manufacturing in India, and Buy Indian, where the design and development may not be from the Indian vendors, but the manufacturing has to be in Indian. Similarly, there are many categories in the DAP 2020 where, there's foreign investments come to the picture. There are foreign buyers, we buy the acquisition through foreign, but the manufacturing has to be in India. So all these things and strategic partnerships, design development through DRDO and OFPs, and of course OFPs have been merged into the DPSU these days, the government has merged it, and defense industrial corridors, there are 2 has been set up in this country. So all these things together and gives rise to the total ecosystems of defense manufacturing and India as a hub.
And ma'am, how can Indian companies effectively collaborate with the global players?
in the defense market?
As we see, like, there are defense that embargo in the imports. So there are many, there are 3 lists which has come out by the Ministry of Defense. And this is there in the Citizen portal. And one can see, the Indian vendors can see that what are the best possible technology which they are capable of. And for this, the FDI comes into the pictures, and they need the foreign collaboration in these. So here the global players also come into pictures, whether they can make the defense indigenous, help in indigenous manufacturings, or they can buy, we can buy it from the foreign companies, and they can have their offsets here in India with the collaboration of the Indian industries.
And ma'am, even if money comes to India, why is the role of DRDO still very important in case that fund has to succeed and the items, whatever are made, are to be inducted in the armed forces?
Yeah, see, DRDO has a big role. And as far as the design, innovation, development is concerned, even DRDO has a special technology development fund which gives grant to the MSME sectors. And this is for the Indian armed forces. They give their requirements, and that requirements, if it is fulfilled, either for the better process, or for the like import substitution, or for the improvement of the systems, then we ask the MSME sectors to give their innovative ideas, the design development, to make it a prototype. So in this case, and DRDO has a big role in this. And at the same time, I would like to say a few things about what DRDO can give to the industries of India. See, the patent policies of DRDO, it is now all the patents of DRDO has a free access to all the industries in India. They can take it for free, they can further develop, and they can also manufacture it. And secondly, what DRDO can give is it has a list of items, systems, subsystems, which can only be designed, developed, and manufactured by Indian industry. DRDO is not going to do that. And thirdly, DRDO is empowered to take an industry partner for its ambitious projects since from the inception to the end. So here the industries can pitch in all these phases with DRDO. They can make as a robust indigenous manufacturing hub for India.
Right, ma'am. So because we are running a little out of time, I'd like to request the last speaker in this panel, Shri Dinesh Manjunathji, to kindly join. Shri Manjunathji is a graduate from University of Liverpool and has decades of experience in banking and finance. He was chief consultant of Indian Indus Funds and has worked with Doha Bank, Oman Bank, and Bank Sohar. Right now, Shri Dinesh Manjunathji is leading business development activities pan-India, particularly B2G. So, sir, what are your thoughts on B2G and then B2B business development regime in the country?
Good evening, Mr. Karan. First of all, thanks to the chairman of the ICA Luxembourg chapter, CA Anjani Ladia, for providing us and for inviting us and to be part of this August gathering. All the speakers who have spoken before us have provided a greater insight into the investment opportunities that are there in India. And a lot of numbers have been actually shared. So what I would like to do is that probably in the next 5 minutes is focus on actually the talk is that more importantly is that from the compliance for regulatory compliance, how important regulatory compliance for the investments in India by looking at the market and how we need to move forward. And any investors when they're investing into India, what are the other things that they need to look into? And if we have to look back step back probably a decade ago, the primary responsibility of the boards of any organization has been actually, it is perceived to focus primarily on the value creation for share. But today, it is not limited to that. So today, the statutory compliance regulations want the boards to focus on value management and value protection by doing a formal review of compliance obligation of an organization. So if that is required to be done, what is most important for all of us is that to understand the market, to understand the business segment very clearly, and see that how we need to move in that direction to tap that particular business segment. Then what is that is required to be done to minimize the risk of non-compliance. The risk is there, and I don't think that if you say that we have a 100% risk-free business, it is no more risk-free business is available. So if you look at on the BTG sector, the BTG business itself is very unique. So what is that is important for us? I think Ms. Poonam has put it very well when she was speaking. She just mentioned about the digital payment revolution that has happened in India. And she just mentioned about a viral video, often, the barcode, even for the beggars, displaying the barcode on the roadsides in India. But if you really look at what is that is very important for us is that we need to step into the shoe of the customer to understand the business. So same applies to the BTG business as well, which is very important for us at this point of time is that we have to see that what are the requirement on the other side of the table, then we need to move forward. So the management of the business is totally different. I'm not going into the nitty-gritties of the individual points that is mentioned on the slides over here, but what kind of strategy that needs to be adopted is the strategy has to align with the understanding of the business very clearly. So basically what I would suggest is that in terms of the strategy, John, can you move on to the next stage? Yeah. What is very, very critical for achieving success in the BTG business area is that one need to have an account-based approach. So there has to be a very clear-cut coordination and integration between the sales and marketing resources and the thought process of both the arms, the sales and marketing arms of an organization, to understand the BTG business requirement and focus on an account-based approach, because the government businesses are built over a long-term relationship. It is not like one transaction deal which we are doing. So it is very important that we need to adopt the account-based approach. If you move on from starting with the account-based approach, what is also important is that the very methodical approach to this particular business segment. So the prospective investor need to work on actually building up the right kind of messages that has to go into the decision makers on the government side. So what is very important at this point of time is one need to understand that what is that the government agencies are looking at. It can be any industry for that matter. Because one of the challenges always is there in the BTG business is that the requirements are vast and industries are widespread. And as we move forward, I'll just share that one also. So it is very important that we need to understand that requirement very clearly. Then moving on, what we need to require to do is that we need to engage the key decision makers, which is very important, because the outreach program, which is very important in this line of business, is that what we also need to be done is that there has to be the solution that is being offered or that is going to be offered has to be thoroughly researched, sourced, and selected. So that here again, another thing, as I said, because of the very diversified requirement in a government business, it definitely vary from contract to contract and from one procurement to the another procurement. So it is very important that we need to engage the key decision makers, where we need to understand their requirement. Then we have to ensure close coordination with the decision makers. So when we are doing a business in a foreign country, this is where the organization like us, the TLGS, will play a major role, because we know the market, we know the people, we have the in-depth know-how of the requirements. That is where we will able to actually bridge the requirements to the offerings and make it much easier. So here, if we can actually go to the statutory compliance for a moment. Yep. So when we do this particular, can we move to the previous slide? Previous, John? Previous one, yep. So if you look at on a macro level, what is that, the difference between the B2G and B2B, which is there? There are a lot of similarities are there. However, there are definitely, each one has its own uniqueness. So that is where, in terms of the approach to the B2G, has to be slightly different from the B2B. So what is that is required in the today's dynamic environment is that the statutory compliance. Before I actually move on to the statutory compliance, I would like to just throw certain numbers. The digital payment initiative started by the government of India. I mean, the COVID pandemic has forced everybody to imbibe the digital payment mechanism, but the way it has been implemented, Indian government has done an exemplary work. So total value of the digital payment transactions that were transacted in the year 2021 was $133.4 billion. And number of transactions were 35 billion transactions. Okay, and the digital payment platform alone. Look at a situation if we disregard the compliance aspect. As per the statistics provided, the matured markets like US, UK, and Canada, where digital payment mechanism is considered to be much more mature compared to anywhere else, the cyber case breach settlement values have increased drastically. Average cost per case, which used to be around 4.4 million 5 years back, today it has reached $7.2 million. This is the average cost per case settlement in case of the cyber case breach. This is actually the industry statistics. Look at an environment in India where we are looking at by 2027, we are targeting to achieve a turnover of around $253 billion worth of digital payment, and our transaction at that point of time is expected to touch in excess of 175 billion number of transactions. If the players in those fields doesn't put the systems and the controls in place right now, so there is a big risk which they are creating for themselves in the business. So I'm just giving an example. So if you move on to the statutory compliance, John, can we move next? Yep.
So can we skip this statutory compliance part?
Sure.
We're running little short of time here.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So probably I'll just take 2 minutes. Can you move on to the market size? Move on. Yep. In fact, earlier, Devashish was actually mentioning about the infrastructure pipeline projects in India, and between next 5 years, what kind of the projects that will be done. And as of date, it's a very dynamic information the government of India publishes. And when he was speaking, I was just going through the IIG website. So active projects that are under consideration here is 8,963 projects, of which 2,119 projects across various sectors are already in the development stage. So total value of investment that are expected in this national infrastructure project pipeline is $1.35 trillion over a period of next 5 years across different sectors. So there is a lot of opportunity, investment opportunity in each of these areas, where we as in TLGS, we have the know-how, we have the expertise in each of these areas, we have the industry domain experts as well. So we can contribute very well to the investors to set up their business and provide a solution end to end to them. So that's the major kind of value addition we as TLGS can provide to the investors who are looking at investing in India. So we have a vast domain expertise, and we have a well-trained professional team. At any point of time, any scale, both in government and private sector, we can handle. And our sister concern TLGS Legal has an excellent legal luminaries with a vast experience in Indian market. Of course, Karanji, you are the right person to speak about that. So what point which I would like to stress upon to the August audience over here is that when you are looking at investing in India, look at TLGS, and we can actually be a very, very complementing partner to you in India.
All right, sir. Thank you. I'll just have one last discussion with the panel. May I have a last word from Dr. Nanda, please? Would you like to add something?
Yes, Karan, I just wanted to mention about the company Brahmashira Astra Bharat. So BSA Bharat. This is a matured company in the defense sector. It has got a lot of MOUs with different defense PSUs. Can I show the slides? Yeah. So this is involved in designing, developing, and manufacturing and testing a wide range of indigenous advanced weapons. And I want to say why, I'll just say that what makes BSFA stand out because of its uniqueness, because it is the sole entity individual in the indigenous for the indigenous production of the mine systems in India. And there are cutting edge systems based on the most sophisticated technology. It has a strong research and development team, and it has a technologically advanced system. It has got all the essential ecosystems for the defense product. And it has got MOU with many like DPSU, Bell, BHEL, and also Ammunition India Limited. And also it has got collaboration with one of the defense DRDO laboratories for the development of insensitive munitions. And also it is the Premier Explosive Limited is the explosive partner of BSA Bharat. Just to the next slide, last one. I just doing one. It has got many products to offerings to people like to the other countries: air launched munitions, explosive initiation system, advanced fusing systems. Next, and anti-personnel mines, anti-vehicles mines, different kinds of mines. It is in the process of development. And next. See, I just wanted to say in just 1 minute that it is recognized by the Government of India as a make-to company, and it focuses on creating products for import substitution, which aligns with the policy directives given by the Ministry of Defense. And it has got the production of limpet mines, which featured in both positive indigenization list. And it is an official development partner of the Government of India, and it has got its first sanction order from the Indian Navy, and it has all its products have massive export potential. So with the above, keeping all this in view, I have a strong feeling that this can go for collaboration with other countries. So that's what I wanted to say, because with the positive time, I could not show the work done by BSA Bharat. Otherwise, they have got a lot of things they have given to DRDO, and they're successful field trials, and they've got the sanction order from the Indian Navy. So with all these things, I feel very proud of BSA Bharat. I request all the investors over there to spread the words to other investors also to be a partner with BSA Bharat. And it's just my recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. I thank the panel and of course the audience to bear with us. It was the last session. The previous sessions, they had escalated. So I'm really sorry for the time. So I thank everybody, Neeraj sir, Dr. Nanda, Dinesh Manjunathji, Air Marshal Air Naresh Vermaji, as well as Shri P. Uday Kumarji to join us here. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Karan.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I would like to thank you, Karan Garg, and the whole panel joining us from India. Now it's time for a next session, which is basically unveiling of a special edition of a magazine by Mr. Harish Chandra, who is the president of Indian Achievers Forum and Editors Achievers World, a well-known entrepreneur working in the domains of media, CSR, branding, and social entrepreneurship. He has done remarkable work in promoting MSMEs and startups globally. Please.
Thank you very much. And my warm greetings to everyone. And my special thanks to Anjani ji and Institute of Chartered Accountants of India's Luxembourg chapter. And I am privileged to be here. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me and inviting Indian Achievers Forum and Achievers World to be a part of this wonderful event. Thank you very much. And I just wanted to inform you about the Indian Achievers Forum. Not very long, I will take just 2 minutes of yours. So Indian Achievers Forum it founded in the year 2000 by Sunil Shastri ji. He is son of our former Prime Minister, late Shri Lal Bahadur Shastri. So since then, we have been promoting the startups and MSMEs in India, and we are taking them to outside India to explore the possibilities, the other countries as well. And as of now, we have done more than 200 such programs in continents like Europe, America, CIS countries, and Southeast Asia. So we have been working in all the sectors. And I will just let you know one part. As we have seen the presentation of state Telangana, and we have seen that, in one particular state, so many opportunities are there in India, whether it's infrastructure, IT, and service industry, processing industries. So if you see that, if only one state can provide you so many opportunities, so we have 28 more states and 8 union territories in India. So you can see that, how big are the opportunities there. So it's not only the manpower. It's basically for the companies. India is one of the biggest market as well. So the companies can come to India, they can manufacture their products there, and they can even sell their products within India. So it's a big opportunity there. So it's a heaven of opportunities. So I request everyone, all the investors, to be there in India, and for any kind of support, we will be there. And since we have signed one MOU with Ministry of IT and MSMEs, where we are providing, we are actually bridging the gap between the MSME startups and the HNI's clients. So with these words only, I will just conclude my speech. Yeah. And in this particular issue, we are featured 10 outstanding inspiring people. So in this magazine, basically, we are promoting the people and the companies who are doing great work for the society, for the businesses. And yeah. So you can see the success stories and the inspirational stories of few of the achievers from across the globe, and all are the Indian origins. Thank you.
We have copies for everyone. Yes.
Thank you, Harish, and thank you everyone for coming here. Now it's time for some felicitations. On behalf of ICI Luxembourg chapter, we would like to present a very small token of appreciation for all our special guests who traveled from everywhere to be here with us. So for this, I would like to call Mr. Anjani Ladia here. Yeah. And now I would like to invite Mr. Dheeraj Khandelwal on the stage. Everyone. Thank you, Mr. Dheeraj, for coming. Now I would like to invite Mr. Rohit Ruwatia on the stage here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Anjani. Thank you, Rohit. Now I would like to call upon Arun Somani. And now I would also like to call upon Karan Garg for coordinating the previous session for us. Thank you so much, Karan. Can I have Poonam Khandelwal also here? Is she? Hi, Poonam. Thank you. Thank you, Arun. Thank you, Poonam. Now I would like to call upon Ganesh Rajmohan. And I would like to call upon Mr. Harish Chandra. Thank you, sir. Now I would like to call upon Mr. Vikas Chaturvedi. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us here. Thank you. Thank you, Ganesh. So now the next session is very small video that we would like to show you. And I would like to introduce you what we are going to show you first. So World Congress of Accountant, popularly known as Olympics of the accounting profession, is one of the most prestigious global events of the professional accountants under the aegis of International Federation of Accountants, where more than 6,000 delegates from more than 130 countries joins and exchange their views on the accounting with each other. So I'm proud to announce that this year, India is hosting that event and in Mumbai, and we would just like to give you some more information via this video. Thank you.
Geographically, the 7th largest country in the world, one of the oldest civilization, world's 6th largest economy, a global hub for innovation with one of the largest startup ecosystem. India, city of Mumbai on the western coast of Arabian Sea, among the most advanced and modern metropolises in the world, and the financial capital of India, gears up to host the most prestigious accountancy event of the world, 21st World Congress of Accountants from 18th to 21st November 2022, an event held every 4 years. The Olympic of Accountancy profession. India hosts the event for the first time in 118 years since the WCOA came into being in 1904. Around 10,000 delegates expected to join virtually. More than 6,000 delegates from over 135 countries would congregate to exchange views at the world's most advanced Geo World Convention Center. The theme, Building Trust, Enabling Sustainability, will inspire the future of accountancy profession to create sustainable economies for the future.
The ICAI is honored to be the host for this mega event, which will bring together the world's largest conglomeration of professional accountants, regulators, leaders, and visionaries to advance the cause of the global accountancy profession. Now, with the ease of travel restrictions across the world and the situation returning to normal, we are working towards creating a never before and a unique experience for all our delegates. The year 2022 marks the 75th year of India's independence, and the government of India is celebrating the year in a big way to showcase the glorious history of India. World Congress of Accountants 2022 would also be celebrated as a mega event to showcase the important role that the accountancy profession has been playing in the economic and social development of the country.
A never before witnessed unique experience of learning future trends, emerging avenues, enhancing skill sets, networking, and to explore the incredible India awaits you.
We at ICAI are pleased to host you here in Mumbai, the financial capital of India, for the 21st World Congress of Accountants, with the theme Building Trust, Enabling Sustainability, from November 18 to 21, 2022, and give you a professionally enriching and personally rejuvenating experience. We are hopeful that the conference shall be stimulating and productive, and your stay in India will be a memorable experience. Once again, we invite you for this enthralling convergence in India, the land of multicultural, historical, and spiritual inheritance since centuries.
Insights from the stalwarts of the profession, international and national standard setters, regulators, and trendsetters will constitute the panel of speakers at WCOA 2022. Let your dream get bigger. Come, be a part of this mega celebration. For registration and sponsorship opportunities, contact. Organized by Institute of Chartered Accountants of India under the aegis of IFAC.
Please participate in the World Congress, which is going to happen in November, 18th of November. It's a wonderful conference. So request all people to participate in November.
Thank you, Dheeraj. Now I would like to call upon CA Jyoti Gupta on stage, who is Secretary of ICAI Luxembourg chapter, to extend the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Purnima. Good evening to all the participants. Dear honorable guest, Shri Debashish Prushti, who had to leave early for some commitments. Dr. E. Vishnu Vardhan Reddy, who could virtually join us. Respected keynote speakers, C. Dheeraj Khandelwal, Chairman of CDITS and WTO, followed by His Excellency C.A. Rohit Rovatia, Vice Chairman of CDITS and WTO. Our most esteemed speakers, ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on the special event of Luxembourg India Connect, exploring business and startup opportunities inbound and outbound. I, on behalf of Luxembourg chapter of ICAI, would like to express my gratitude to all the speakers for the first interactive session, Startup Ecosystem, Inbound and Outbound Opportunities. Ms. Poonam Khandelwal, Head Market Development of Venture Catalyst, for sharing insights on the startup ecosystem in India. C.A. Dheeraj Khandelwal, for coordinating the first interactive session. Mr. Jean-Michel Ludwig, Director of Business Development, Lux Innovation, for providing guidance on the startup ecosystem in Luxembourg. A big thank you to our moderator, Shri Karan Garg, Director of TLGS Consulting Group and BSAB, their team as TLGS and the team of speakers, Shri Neeraj Sinha, Shri P. Uday Kumar, Air Marshal Naresh Verma, Dr. Maitri Nanda, and Sri Dinesh Manjunath. I would also like to thank Mr. Harish Chandra, President of Indian Achievers Forum, for traveling all the way from India to embrace this event and inaugurating the magazine. I'm also very grateful to our Indian startup ecosystem partner, Venture Catalyst, event sponsors, TLGS Consulting Group and BSAB, media partners, Achievers World, Indian Achievers Forum, and CSR Times. I also like to wish my gratitude to Namur for their facilities and hospitality. Lastly, I would like to thank our senior members, Mr. Vijay Goyal, EVP ArcelorMittal, Mr. Sandeep Chalan, CFO SES, few other key personalities in Luxembourg, Mr. Sudhir Kohli, ex-president IBCL, Mr. Lokdeep Singh, CEO Talkwalkers, members of the Luxembourg chapter of ICAI, and the lovely audience without whom this event wouldn't have been success. And apologies for the overrun in the event. Please enjoy your dinner. Thank you very much. Now we can all assemble for a group photograph. Yes.
Before the photographs, let's all rise for the national anthem, please. Thank you, everyone. And please, everyone here for a good photograph. Thank you.
So that was my idea.